Chapter 1568. Oh. What do you need an air pump for? Do you want to pump up the car? Xiao Liao thought that little Wang was looking for an air pump for a private matter, so he began to complain. The company's cars are pumped up every day. Why do you have so many questions? Little Wang frowned as if he could see little Liao's dissatisfaction. However, he also understood that he was a parachuted soldier who was promoted from the security captain to the logistics department's deputy manager. These people might think that he relied on his connections to get the position. The matter of him driving for Yang Ming had not been spread out yet. Only Bao Sanli knew about it at present. Brother Yang asked me to drive. You should get ready quickly. Brother Yang? Which Brother Yang? Xiao Liao was stunned. He thought about it. There seemed to be no Brother Yang in the logistics department. I'm driving for Chairman Yang. Don't you know about this? Little Wang frowned. Hurry up. It will be troublesome if you mess up the important matters. Chairman Yang. When Xiao Liao heard the name, he suddenly realized who the Brother Yang in little Wang's mouth was. Yang Ming also participated in a meeting of Ming Yang Entertainment when Jing Xiaolu was in office, so the employees in the company now knew that there was a chairman named Yang Ming above Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan. The reason why Xiao Liao dared to talk to little Wang as the captain of the team and was under little Wang's jurisdiction was because he drove the car when Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan went out. Although Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan could drive, it was inconvenient for them to drive. After all, their identities were there, so they temporarily used Xiao Liao as the driver. Xiao Liao felt that he was extremely badass. As the driver of the boss, he was naturally superior to others. It was normal to not put little Wang in his eyes. Although he had heard that the reason why little Wang was arranged to be the deputy manager of the logistics department was that he was chosen by a company leader to drive, Xiao Liao did not put it in his eyes. After all, no matter how powerful the leader was, he could not be more powerful than Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan, right? He subconsciously thought that the reason why Xiao Wang was given a higher position than him was because the leader was a relative of his family. Thinking of this, he despised Xiao Wang even more, which was why he made things difficult for him. However, when he heard that little Wang was actually driving for Yang Ming, little Liao suddenly broke into a cold sweat. He finally realized that in this company, Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan were not the most powerful. There was a chairman above him. Although the chairman didn't appear in the company often, his authority was there. He thought about how he was promoted to the captain of the team because he had driven for Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan. Little Wang was the driver for Yang Ming. It was understandable that he was promoted to the deputy manager of the logistics department. Who asked him to serve someone who was better than him? Xiao Liao's face immediately changed when he thought that he almost ruined the plan. He put on a flattering expression that was only used in front of Bao Sanli and Hou Junhan. Brother Wang, you should have said so earlier. I will get you the air pump now. The way he addressed little Wang had also become Brother Wang. This instantaneous change in the eyes of little Wang made him deeply feel the hypocrisy of the world here. He had unknowingly taken advantage of the authority of others. Soon, Xiao Liao brought a pressurized air pump. Little Wang wanted to reach out to take it, but Xiao Liao shook his head and refused. He personally ran to the side of little Wang's car, opened the trunk, and put it in properly. Brother Wang, I have prepared everything for you. You should hurry up and do something for the chairman. Don't delay it. You and I can't afford to be responsible. After Xiao Liao finished all this, he said respectfully with a smile. It was as if the person who was sarcastic before was not him. Xiao Liao, good job. I thought that the air pump had to be pressurized. I didn't expect it to be pressurized. Little Wang nodded with satisfaction. Hee. Xiao Liao was praised, and he smiled happily. Xiao Liao could see that even though little Wang was the deputy manager of the logistics department, he was definitely better than the manager. In the future, even if the manager had any decision, he had to discuss it with him. There was no other reason. If he wanted to continue working in the company, How could he simply offend the people around the chairman? Xiao Liao thought that it was a close call. Fortunately, I acted quickly according to the situation. Otherwise, I am afraid that I would be finished today. Little Wang got in the car and started the car in the direction of Songjiang Industry University. Yang Ming came to Xiao Qing's office with ease. He didn't knock on the door. He used his special ability to see that there was no one else inside except Xiao Qing, then he pushed the door and entered directly. Xiao Qing heard the sound of the door opening and looked up in amazement. When she saw that it was Yang Ming, she was relieved. Her face was a little red. Why didn't you knock on the door and come in directly? You scared me. I was wondering who was so rude. I saw that there was no one else in the room, so I came in directly. Yang Ming said and closed the office door. Seeing Yang Ming's action, Xiao Qing's face was more flushed. Why did you close the door? It's cold. Didn't you close the door before? Yang Ming locked the door and said naturally. Then why did you still lock the door? Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming's serious look and couldn't help but be amused by him. She couldn't help but laugh. Ah. You even found out about this? Yang Ming felt that he was very secretive. His face was not red and his heart was not beating fast. There was no clue, but he didn't want to be discovered by Xiao Qing. He scratched his head. Isn't this because I am afraid that someone will come in? If I find out anything that shouldn't be found out. Let me tell you. Don't mess around. Last time, Jejia saw it. You were just careless. Xiao Qing said, fortunately, it was Jejia. If it was someone else, what should we do if it was spread out? What's the big deal? At most, I will just drop out of school. Yang Ming shrugged and said indifferently, let's see what other people can say. What drop out of school? Don't talk nonsense. Xiao Qing frowned, but her heart was moved by Yang Ming's words. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Just be careful in the future. Yang Ming said. In fact, Yang Ming now had no desire and expectation for university. People who went to university would find that university was just that. Therefore, even if Yang Ming dropped out of school now, it was nothing. With Yang Ming's current identity and achievements, university had become unimportant. Even Yang Dehai's concept was not like before. He also felt that Yang Ming's university was just a life experience. He no longer asked about things like Yang Ming's grades. Even when Yang Ming didn't appear in school for a few months, he no longer interfered. I heard from Jejia that Meng Yan was kidnapped, and you saved her. Is everything okay? Xiao Qing had seen Yang Ming's skill. When they were in Hong Kong, Yang Ming shocked the boss in the bar with a few moves and helped her escape successfully. It's okay. It has been solved. Yang Ming nodded. Now Meng Yan has gone to class. Not many people know about this matter. Then when you saved her, didn't Chen Mengyan's parents suspect anything? You know, Chen Fei is the police chief. Xiao Qing looked at Yang Ming and asked, your ability wasn't discovered by anyone, right? They know more or less. Yang Ming shrugged helplessly, and then took out 2 documents from his pocket and handed them to Xiao Qing. They came to me and I joined this organization. Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Military Region? Xiao Qing glanced at the documents that Yang Ming handed over, and then she showed a dignified expression. They know about your matter? They also have a similar master. I can't hide it. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. But this matter is also two-sided. Although I have exposed my ability and have to do something for them, this is also a protective talisman for me. With these 2 certificates, other organizations and individuals will not be able to trouble me. They will solve it for me. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. That's right. Xiao Qing listened to Yang Ming's analysis and nodded. She said sincerely, Yang Ming, you have grown up. Ah. Yang Ming was slightly stunned. In terms of looking at things, you are much more mature than before. I don't have to worry about you anymore. Xiaoqing smiled and said, you just need to know your limits. People will grow up. Yang Ming looked up and looked at Xiaoqing's bright eyes. In the past, you were my sister Xiaoqing. Now, let me protect you. Xiaoqing looked at the expression in Yang Ming's eyes, and her nose was slightly sour. She had to admit that Yang Ming had really grown up during this time. He had transformed from a boy into an indomitable man. Okay, then I will become a child in front of you in the future. Xiaoqing suddenly had a very relaxed feeling. She felt that there was no gap between her age and Yang Ming's. It seems that it has been like this since a long time ago. Yang Ming touched his nose and smiled bitterly. Since the incident with Song Heng, I have felt so, en? Xiaoqing blinked and recalled the incident where Song Heng found trouble with her. It seemed to be true. Unknowingly, Yang Ming had become the shore of her fragile soul. Chapter 1569. The meeting with Xiaoqing was always rushed. Although it felt like an affair every time, it was really rushed and nervous. However, this couldn't be helped. Before Xiaoqing didn't intend to resign or Yang Ming didn't drop out of school, this matter couldn't be made public. Yang Ming didn't care, but he was afraid that Xiaoqing wouldn't be able to stand the strange gazes of others. After all, a relationship between a younger man and a sibling was still unacceptable. After leaving the computer science faculty building, Yang Ming thought about it and called Sun Jia again. The phone rang a few times, but it was cut off. Yang Ming was stunned. As he was about to call again, a text message came in. I'm in class. What are you doing? What's the matter? Yang Ming looked at the text message and smiled bitterly. He replied, nothing. Then you go to class. I'm back in Songjiang. You can contact me after class. Sun Jia didn't have many classes, but he happened to catch up. After a while, Sun Jia replied, N. Yang Ming dialed Little Wang's phone. Little Wang, where are you? Brother Yang, I have arrived. I'm at the main entrance of Songjiang Industry University. Little Wang had arrived early and had been waiting for Yang Ming's call. And then you wait for me in front of the computer science faculty building. My car is parked there. That BMW X5, you can see it when you get there. Yang Ming instructed. Okay, Brother Yang, I'm coming. Little Wang responded. Yang Ming hung up the phone and walked from the faculty building to the teaching building. Before he walked to the teaching building, he saw an Audi A8 parked side by side next to his car. Little Wang was dragging an air pump around the BMW and carefully inflating the tires. Yang Ming smiled. This Little Wang's eyesight and observation were good. After arriving here, he saw that the tires of his car had no air. He knew the purpose of the air pump. Brother Yang. Little Wang inflated the tires while paying attention to whether Yang Ming came over. When he saw Yang Ming, Little Wang quickly shouted. How is it? Is it done inflating? Asked Yang Ming. It's the last one. Little Wang said as he pulled out the air pump, then he measured the tire pressure with the tire pressure gauge. He nodded with satisfaction. It's done, Brother Yang. And, this early in the morning. I don't know who deflated the tires. Yang Ming was very satisfied with Little Wang's attitude. Even when he saw that his tires were deflated, he did not show any doubts. This way of handling things was a qualified driver. He did not ask anything that he should not ask. I'm always on standby in the company to help Brother Yang. Little Wang smiled and said, what's the trouble? I'm afraid that I have nothing to do. And, then you go back first. I will look for you again if I have something. Yang Ming nodded to Little Wang, indicating that he could go back. Okay, Brother Yang. Although Little Wang was disappointed that Yang Ming didn't have anything else for him to do, he didn't show it. If there is anything, just call me at any time. I'm on standby 24 hours. 24 hours? Yang Ming smiled. This little Wang seems to be a promising person. At the very least, his enthusiasm is not bad. Even if Yang Ming didn't need him in the future, he would send him to his father or uncle to do things. Yang Ming was ready to move the car. Since it was Li Buoyang, the little bastard, who deflated the tires, he would park the car in front of the teaching building. When he saw it when he came out, he might deflate the tires for the car. Yang Ming couldn't keep an eye on the car, so it was better to move to a safe place. In fact, in the school, the safest place was the parking lot at the entrance. There were guards on duty. Most people wouldn't make trouble under their eyes. However, there were generally cars without a school pass parked there. People like Yang Ming who had a pass could drive the car into the campus at will, so no one deliberately parked in the parking lot at the entrance of the school. Yang Ming got in the car, started the car, and drove in the direction of the school gate. A crisp ringtone sounded. Yang Ming took out the mobile phone. He thought it was Sun Jia calling him after class. He glanced at the caller ID, but it was an unfamiliar number. Hello? Yang Ming picked up the phone. Yang Ming, asked the person on the other side of the phone. It's me. Who is this? Yang Ming frowned. The voice on the other side of the phone was a little unfamiliar, but he seemed to have heard it somewhere before. I am Qin Jia. I want to talk to you. The person on the other side of the phone didn't hide it. Qin Jia? Yang Ming suddenly realized. No wonder the voice was a little familiar. It turned out to be Qin Xiaolong's father, Qin Jia. At the banquet yesterday, although he didn't say much and only said a few words, Yang Ming still had some impressions of him. What's the matter? Just say it. Yang Ming didn't have any good impression of Qin Jia, so he said faintly. I want to meet you. Don't worry. After you come, there will definitely be unexpected benefits, said Qin Jia. Oh? Unexpected benefits? Yang Ming sneered. He didn't want to agree, but after thinking about it, Qin Jia's matter had to be solved eventually. It was better to take this opportunity to teach Qin Jia a lesson and avoid some unnecessary conflicts. Yang Ming was not afraid of conflicts. He even thought that only by giving Qin Jia a bloody lesson could he remember. However, because of Qin Fei's face, Yang Ming still tried to suppress himself as much as possible so that Qin Fei wouldn't be in a difficult position. Yes. Qin Jia smiled. How is it? Are you interested? Where are you now? I'll send a car to pick you up. No need. Just tell me the place. I'll go there myself. Yang Ming was still very indifferent. He wasn't tempted by the so-called benefits at all. Well, in half an hour at the Songjiang International Hotel, Presidential Suite 1222. Qin Jia received it. Okay. Yang Ming replied faintly. Yang Ming was clear about the fate of the two bodyguards yesterday. He guessed that after Qin Jia knew about it, he would feel that he was at a disadvantage. Since he couldn't use force, he would use force and ask him to meet and talk directly. Come to think of it, that so-called enormous benefit was just giving him some benefits. Yang Ming curled his lips. He didn't stop the car and drove directly in the direction of the Songjiang International Hotel. During the day, there weren't many cars parked at the entrance of the hotel. Yang Ming casually found a parking space and parked. The newly appointed security captain, Xiao Zhang, was the former vice captain. Xiao Wang was promoted today. Xiao Zhang was envious and excited that he could be promoted to security captain. Brother Yang. Xiao Zhang knew the process of Xiao Wang's promotion. When he suddenly saw Yang Ming's car coming to the parking lot again, he quickly ran over. You are? Yang Ming looked at Xiao Zhang, who was wearing the captain's uniform, and asked. I'm the new security captain, Xiao Zhang, Brother Yang. Xiao Zhang quickly replied, this is my contact information. Brother Yang, just call me if you need anything. Little Zhang said as he respectfully handed over his name card. N. Yang Ming took it and glanced at it. He nodded, indicating that he understood. The name on the business card was still the vice captain of the hotel security team. It seemed that he hadn't had time to change it. Xiao Zhang didn't say anything more, but moved aside. He didn't expect to impress Yang Ming this time. He had just been promoted to security captain, so he wouldn't have higher achievements in the near future. Chapter 1570. Yang Ming locked the car and walked to the hotel. When he passed by the hotel lobby, he nodded to Manager Lu and didn't say anything. Instead, he went straight to the elevator and pressed the button for the 12th floor. Presidential suite. Yang Ming sneered in his heart. Just tell me the room number. He even added the words presidential suite. Is he trying to show off his financial resources? This hotel belongs to Yang Ming. Obviously, Chen Jie was showing off to the wrong person. The elevator stopped on the 12th floor. Yang Ming walked in the direction of room 1222 and stopped at the door of the room. Yang Ming didn't knock on the door immediately. Instead, he used his special ability to look into the room. Although Yang Ming didn't think that Chen Jie was a threat to him at all, Yang Ming had become more careful since the incident with Wang Jitao. Anyway, there was nothing wrong with being careful. Yang Ming didn't want to do something that would cause him to suffer losses because of his conceit. In the room, there was no one else except Chen Jie and the 2 bodyguards from yesterday. Yang Ming was also relieved. If they invited 7th grandfather Chen to be noisy, Yang Ming really couldn't say some things because of Chen Fei. This 7th grandfather Chen was 70 or 80 years old. If he died here because of one sentence, then Yang Ming would be looking for trouble. Dang dang dang. Yang Ming knocked on the door of the room. Chen Jie heard the knock on the door. He looked at his watch and waved to the 2 bodyguards, motioning them to open the door. Who is it? Bodyguard A walked over and gave Bodyguard B a look as he walked. The 2 of them walked to the outside of the presidential suite and asked in front of the door. Yang Ming replied faintly. With a ka sound, the door was opened. Bodyguards A and B looked at Yang Ming coldly. These 2 people had suffered a loss from Yang Ming in the bathroom yesterday, so there was a hint of hostility in their eyes. These 2 people were hit by Yang Ming's door panel yesterday. They also peed all over their bodies. How could they not have resentment in their hearts? Although Yang Ming wasn't to be blamed for the car's brake system malfunctioning and her crashing into the garbage dump, it was also because of Yang Ming. So, at this moment, all the annoyance was put on Yang Ming. Previously, they were instructed by Chen Jie to show Yang Ming their power. So at this moment, both of them were eager to teach Yang Ming a lesson. While the 2 of them were looking at Yang Ming coldly, Yang Ming didn't even look at them, as if they didn't exist. He lifted his leg and walked into the room. The 2 of them were despised by Yang Ming, which made bodyguards A and B very angry. Most people, when they entered the house and saw 2 macho men standing at the door, it would cause a certain amount of pressure, both psychologically and visually. However, Yang Ming didn't take them seriously at all. How could they endure this? They were bodyguards. The kind of bodyguards who were awesome around rich people. If they were in a movie, they would be cool existences. How could they be despised today? Stop right there. Bodyguard A was despised by Yang Ming. How could he let it go? If Yang Ming was allowed to walk into the room directly, how could it serve as a deterrent? So, Bodyguard A directly stretched out his hand and stopped Yang Ming. Bodyguard B also followed suit. He immediately stretched out his hand and blocked Yang Ming at the door of the room with Bodyguard A. Why? Am I not welcome? Yang Ming glanced at the 2 bodyguards with a smile, and then said leisurely, if that's the case, then I'll leave. It just so happens that I don't want to come here. If it weren't for your boss persuading me to come here, do you think I would be willing to come? After speaking, Yang Ming turned around and was about to leave. Yang Ming's sudden action stunned the 2 bodyguards. They thought that Yang Ming would be furious, and then he would naturally clash with them. This way, they could also teach Yang Ming a lesson. But what they didn't expect was that Yang Ming didn't want to reason with them at all. he didn't want to force his way in. Instead, he turned around and left. What kind of game was this? The two bodyguards were dumbfounded for a while. However, no matter what Yang Ming was up to, the two bodyguards couldn't just watch Yang Ming leave. If Yang Ming left, who would the boss talk to? Especially when the two of them got rid of Yang Ming, would they still have a good time when they went back? Thinking of this, bodyguard quickly reached out and closed the door of the room with a bang. Since you're here, don't be in a hurry to leave. In fact, if Yang Ming wanted to leave, how could these two bodyguards stop Yang Ming? With his slow speed of closing the door, Yang Ming would have already disappeared. However, Yang Ming didn't really want to leave. He was just teasing the two of them. Oh. Weren't you the ones who stopped me and told me to stop? Yang Ming looked at the two of them with a playful expression. Is there something wrong with my ears? Or is your mouth crooked or the nerves in your arms can't be controlled? You better be honest. Do you want to die? Bodyguards A and B were ridiculed by Yang Ming, and they immediately lost their faces. They snorted and scolded, "Little brat, why don't you open your eyes and see whose territory this is? You dare to behave atrociously in front of me? Whose territory?" The playful expression in Yang Ming's eyes became more intense. Whose territory is this Songjiang International Hotel? Could it be that these two people thought that just because they rented a room, this place was their territory? Of course, it's mine. Bodyguard B snorted. Put away your little punk act. Young Master Xiaolong is right. You're just a little punk. But let me tell you, you met the ancestor of punks today. When I was fighting on the streets, you were still playing with mud. Oh, is there anything else? Yang Ming nodded and replied normally. You. Bodyguards A and B didn't expect Yang Ming to be so stubborn. No matter what they said to him, he looked calm and indifferent, as if it had nothing to do with him. Kid, raise your hands. We want to search you. Bodyguard A's original intention was to simply find a reason to stir up trouble between Yang Ming and himself. Then, he could clean up the mess along the way. That way, it would be perfectly justifiable. After all, Chen Jia was sitting in the room. If they casually beat up Yang Ming, it wouldn't be justifiable. They also had some scruples about the relationship and face between Chen Jia and Chen Fei. If there was no reason, it wouldn't be justifiable. However, if they casually provoked an incident, it could be considered that there was a reason. In this way, even if he and Bodyguard B taught Yang Ming a lesson, it would be a personal action. It had nothing to do with Chen Jia. In his opinion, Yang Ming's performance at the banquet yesterday was very impulsive and arrogant. Therefore, he was confident that he could use this trick to anger Yang Ming, and then teach Yang Ming a lesson. However, judging from Yang Ming's performance today, this kid was terrifyingly calm. He wouldn't listen to anything. If you said too much to him, he would just turn around and leave without caring about you. This attitude made bodyguards A and B speechless. It couldn't be helped. Bodyguard A could only be quick-witted and use the excuse of a body search. In his opinion, Yang Ming was definitely unwilling, so he could take advantage of the situation to carry out the next step of his plan. In fact, as he wished, Yang Ming would not let bodyguards A and B search him. They were not security guards. How could Yang Ming let them search him? However, things in the world often went against one's wishes. Yang Ming did not agree to let them search him, but they could not teach Yang Ming a lesson. Body search? Yang Ming looked at bodyguards A and B sarcastically. Body search? Did you want to search me, or did your master, Chen Jia, ask you to do so? This. Bodyguard A was a little dumbfounded after listening to Yang Ming's words. It was difficult to answer. If he said that they wanted to search him, Yang Ming could say, your master, Chen Jia, didn't ask you to do so. Why did you search him on your own accord? If he replied that Chen Jia instructed them to do so, then Yang Ming could say, since you don't believe me and still do so many things, why are you still talking to me? If he turned around and left again, the two bodyguards would not be able to handle it. For a moment, Bodyguard A was in a dilemma. Chapter 1571. However, Bodyguard B was more clever. He helped Bodyguard A out of the situation with one sentence. "Why are you asking so much?" Bodyguard B pointed at Yang Ming and shouted, "You came here. Do you think you have a choice? You still want to bargain with us? Do you want to die?" "Yeah." Bodyguard A glanced at Bodyguard B gratefully and also shouted, "Are you tired of living? Do you want me to fix you?" "Old King, you hold him down. I will search him." In this way, there was no need to provoke him. He could directly use this as a starting point to teach Yang Ming a lesson. Hee, okay. Old King, who was Bodyguard B, grabbed Yang Ming and wanted to control Yang Ming. "Kid, if you want to suffer less, you better be honest." "Suffer less?" Yang Ming raised his head with a smile and glanced at Bodyguard A and B. "Yesterday, didn't the P make your heads clear? Don't you know that some people can't be provoked? The P last night. Did you do it on purpose?" Bodyguard A's face immediately became gloomy, and there was anger in his eyes. "It turned out that you did it on purpose. I was wondering why you were peeing on the garbage heap so coincidentally. It turned out that you did it on purpose." Good, hee. "Nonsense." Yang Ming shrugged. "If I didn't do it on purpose, why would I pee on the garbage heap? Do I have nothing to do? It's ridiculous. Did you think I was really drunk? You two sneakily walked in front of me. When you saw that I was going to the bathroom, you ran in first. Did you want to ambush me? I just dawdled at the door for a while. You two idiots really fell for it. You leaned on the door to listen to the movement outside. As a result, I kicked you. How is it? The power of the door panel is very cool, right?" Yang Ming sneered sarcastically. You. I think you don't know how to spell the word death." Bodyguard A was furious. He pointed at Yang Ming and was so angry that his whole body was trembling. He didn't expect that yesterday's incident was actually Yang Ming's scheme. He had always thought that it was a coincidence, so even if he was angry with Yang Ming, there was a limit to it. He wasn't irrationally blaming everything on Yang Ming. However, after hearing Yang Ming's explanation, Bodyguard A couldn't wait to kill Yang Ming. He even had the heart to kill Yang Ming. Bodyguard B had fainted yesterday, so it was still a little worse. However, Bodyguard A had been awake the whole time. Being drenched in someone's urine was a great humiliation to him. It was no less humiliating than the humiliation he had suffered back then. Therefore, Bodyguard A was about to go crazy for a moment. "Good, you little bastard surnamed Yang, you're very good. Since you dare to admit it, Grandpa will let you know the price of blood today." "Oh? Price of blood?" Yang Ming shook his head regretfully. "I thought that the two of you had already tasted the price of blood when you crashed into each other yesterday. It seems that it wasn't enough. I still have to do a little more to make it unforgettable." "What? Yesterday's car accident was also caused by you?" Bodyguard B was the driver yesterday. He still had lingering fears about the brake system malfunction. He was secretly relieved that he almost lost his life yesterday. Now that he heard that this incident was actually related to Yang Ming, his anger was no less than Bodyguard A's. "You've got guts. You dare to admit it here? Don't you know whose territory this is?" "Whose territory?" Yang Ming put his hands in his pockets and looked like he was asking for a beating. "Why don't you tell me?" "Okay. You've got guts." Bodyguard A wasn't in a hurry to teach Yang Ming a lesson now. In his opinion, a simple lesson couldn't resolve the hatred in his heart. He wanted to let Yang Ming remember the price of teasing and insulting him forever. Bodyguard A was really angry. Before he was recruited by Chinjia, he was also a fugitive. He was also a master who fought to the death. How could he swallow this insult now? "Old King, tell him whose territory this is." Bodyguard A glanced at Bodyguard B and said, "Kid, Since you entered this room and dared to admit what happened yesterday, then you should be prepared to pay the price. Bodyguard B said coldly, but little brat, let me tell you. The chances of you walking out of here in one piece today are very slim. Really? Then I'd like to see what the two of you are capable of. Yang Ming shrugged. Right, I forgot to tell you. This is not your territory. What do you mean? Bodyguard A was stunned. Because this is my territory. Yang Ming chuckled. Haven't you heard of this saying? This is my territory, and I call the shots. Your territory? Bodyguard A still didn't understand what Yang Ming meant. Take the two of them down and entertain them, Yang Ming said faintly. Ah. Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B were confused by Yang Ming's confusing words. What are you talking about? Are you crazy? Are you talking nonsense? However, just as the two of them were puzzled, the door of the room opened with a bang. A pair of people in security uniforms rushed in. Without saying anything, they directly pressed Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B to the ground. You. Who are you? What do you want to do? Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B were shocked. They didn't expect a group of people to suddenly rush into the room. However, no one answered them. After Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B struggled for a while and found that it was futile, they could only stop resisting and obediently lie on the ground. Although the two of them were experienced fighters, these security guards weren't weak either. They were well trained and swift, and they were very strong. They couldn't move at all. In the face of so many people, Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B knew that they weren't opponents at all. They could only obediently give up resistance. People like them belonged to the category of bullying the weak and fearing the strong. When they saw people who were stronger than them, they could only obediently listen to orders in order to avoid physical pain. Brother Yang, how are you? Are you hurt? Captain Xiao Zhang ran in front of Yang Ming in high spirits and asked for credit. I'm fine. Yang Ming smiled. Take the two of them down to have a good rest. Yes. Brother Yang. Xiao Zhang waved his hand, and the security guards took Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B out of the room. Yang Ming didn't want to show his skills in front of these people. This was Yang Ming's trump card. Therefore, when Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B were talking nonsense with him, Yang Ming reached into his pocket and sent a text message to the hotel's security captain, Xiao Zhang, asking him to bring people to the door of room 1222 to be on standby at any time and listen to his orders. If it were other people, I'm afraid that this text message wouldn't be sent out, but Yang Ming's special ability allowed him to see the phone screen in his pocket clearly, so the text message was sent out quickly. Xiao Zhang received Yang Ming's text message, and he was so excited that he almost exclaimed. On his first day in office, Yang Ming had something for him to do. This made him feel very honored. It should be said that it was a great honor. He immediately gathered several core personnel of the security company. These people were specially trained and had good skills. Xiao Zhang took them directly to the 12th floor and waited at the door of room 1222, waiting for Yang Ming's instructions. Hearing the conversation between Yang Ming and Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B in the room, Xiao Zhang was anxious. He was afraid that Bodyguard A and Bodyguard B would hurt Yang Ming. However, Yang Ming's text message asked him to take people to wait at the door, so Xiao Zhang didn't dare to break in directly. He could only wait anxiously at the door for Yang Ming's orders. After waiting for a while, he finally heard Yang Ming say, "Take the two of them down and treat them well." At this time, Xiao Zhang knew that it was time for him to appear, so he immediately took people to break in. He showed his power and pressed the two bodyguards to the ground without any hesitation. He wanted to make a good impression on Yang Ming quickly, and he did do it. Yang Ming nodded to Xiao Zhang with satisfaction. You go down too. Yes, Brother Yang. Xiao Zhang said in his heart, I can't go. I have to leave a few brothers to wait at the door together. What if Brother Yang has other things to do? Xiao Zhang and the security guards quickly left the room and closed the door as if nothing had happened. Chapter 1572. Come out. Did you enjoy watching? Yang Ming waited for little Zhang and the others to leave. He stared at the door of the presidential suite with a smile and said mockingly. Yang Ming had already seen with his special ability that Chen Jia had been standing in the presidential suite's inner room, peeking through the peephole at everything that happened outside. However, Yang Ming didn't expose it before. He waited for his people to take the two bodyguards away before he spoke sarcastically. At this moment, Chen Jia was already sweating. He didn't expect that Yang Ming would ambush a group of people at the door in advance and take down his two bodyguards. Indeed, as Yang Ming said, he had been in the presidential suite's inner room and had been monitoring the movements outside through the peephole. The idea of the two bodyguards provoking Yang Ming to teach Yang Ming a lesson was also instigated by Chen Jia. He was also extremely angry with Yang Ming, so he also wanted to give Yang Ming a show of strength. So, he ordered bodyguards A and B to act according to the situation in advance. At that time, he would hide in the presidential suite's inner room and secretly watch. Even if Chen Fei was dissatisfied, he could say that he wasn't present and that it was the idea of the two bodyguards. In this way, even if Chen Fei was unwilling, there was no other way. Just as Chen Jia was watching the show, Yang Ming suddenly said that he had peed on the two bodyguards last night. This made Chen Jia suddenly stunned because he didn't know about this matter that Yang Ming said. However, looking at the two bodyguards' hatred, he knew that Yang Ming was telling the truth and not talking nonsense. It was just that Chen Jia didn't know the specific situation. The two bodyguards didn't mention this matter to him. It was probably because it was too embarrassing, so they hid it. However, after Yang Ming's explanation, Chen Jia also understood the general situation. It was his two bodyguards who were monitoring Yang Ming. When they found that Yang Ming was going to the bathroom, they rushed to the bathroom first to prepare to ambush Yang Ming. As a result, they didn't know what happened. Yang Ming discovered and saw through their actions, so he deliberately didn't enter the bathroom door. This also caused the two bodyguards to put their ears on the door out of curiosity to listen to the movements outside. They wanted to find out why Yang Ming didn't enter the bathroom. Yang Ming's timing was very good. After the two bodyguards put their ears on the door panel, Yang Ming kicked them, so the door panel knocked the two bodyguards to the ground. In the end, they didn't know why. Maybe the two of them hit the trash can, and the trash overturned, covering the two of them. Then Yang Ming pretended to be drunk, walked into the bathroom, and peed on the trash pile. As a result, the urine was all over the heads of the two bodyguards. This was the whole process of the tragedy. It had to be said that Chen Jia's imagination was quite rich. Just from a few sentences of Yang Ming's explanation, he was able to link the process before and after. It was not much different from the truth. Chen Jia didn't expect Yang Ming to actually trick his two bodyguards. However, this was nothing. He had already learned from Chen Xiaolong that Yang Ming's temper was completely like a hooligan. It was reasonable for him to do such a thing. However, what Yang Ming said next shocked Chen Jia. The failure of the two bodyguards' brake system yesterday was actually related to Yang Ming. This shocked him. He also secretly thought that Yang Ming was ruthless. He actually dared to do anything. Wasn't he afraid that the two bodyguards would be legally responsible if they really hit him with a car? Did he think that he could be unscrupulous with Chen Fei as his father-in-law, the police chief? This was Chen Jia's misunderstanding of Yang Ming. Yang Ming was unscrupulous because of his identity as a member of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. These two people followed Yang Ming and tried to do something bad to him. It was normal for Yang Ming to destroy them. Even if Xia Bingbao knew about this, he wouldn't say anything. After hearing that Yang Ming was so unscrupulous, Chen Jia had the intention to let go of Yang Ming. This sense of vigilance came from the fact that Yang Ming stood in his own private room and dared to talk about what he did yesterday in front of the two bodyguards. What did this mean? It meant that either Yang Ming was fearless, or his brain was damaged and he wanted to die. However, it seemed that the former possibility was more reliable. In Chen Jia's opinion, this Yang Ming was not a fool. Then, when Yang Ming said, "Take the two of them down and treat them well," Chen Jie immediately understood everything. After that, Chen Jie understood everything at once. Yang Ming really had a backup plan. He didn't come here by himself, but someone was lying in ambush at the door of the room. As for how Yang Ming's people opened the door of the room, Chen Jie didn't think much about it. He thought that the two bodyguards didn't close the door tightly at that time, or that Yang Ming did something. This was because Chen Jie never thought that little Zhang's group of people would be the security guards in the hotel. When they opened the door, they used the universal door card for cleaning the room. Chen Jie didn't care about Yang Ming's so-called "this is my territory." He thought that Yang Ming meant that this was Songjiang, not the south. He didn't mean that the hotel was Yang Ming's territory. So at this point, although Chen Jie had guessed it, he didn't get the essence. He still didn't understand that Yang Ming's current identity was no longer the little punk of the past. The reason why Yang Ming was so confident when facing Chen Jie was because his identity and value had far exceeded Chen Jie's. Even Chen Jie couldn't catch up with him. This was the real reason why Yang Ming dared to be arrogant. If it were in the past, Yang Ming wouldn't be so calm when facing Wang Shifan. Why is it so noisy? Chen Jie yawned and walked out in a daze. "I just slept." "What's wrong?" "Oh. Is classmate Yang Ming here?" Chen Jie knew that Yang Ming's people were lying in ambush outside, so he no longer mentioned the previous Yang Ming show of strength. Instead, he used the tactic of conciliation. Although he didn't know where the group of people at the door came from, he thought that Yang Ming was the king of gangsters when he was in school. Now, he was definitely a big gangster. These people were undoubtedly gangsters in society. Chen Jie didn't want to provoke this kind of person. When he was in the south, he hired 2 bodyguards who had been in society because he was afraid of being harassed by gangsters. It saved him a lot of trouble. In Songjiang, Chen Jie didn't want to cause too much trouble. He just didn't understand. How did Chen Fei find such a son-in-law? Is this possible? Chen Jie, why do you pretend that you just woke up and that it has nothing to do with you? Yang Ming sneered. "You were leaning on the door panel before and made a sound. Do you think I didn't hear it?" "This, hee." Chen Jie smiled awkwardly. "Classmate Yang Ming, the 2 bodyguards were played by you yesterday. It's normal for them to be resentful, but it's not my intention." "Oh, then what do you mean?" Yang Ming snorted coldly. Naturally, he didn't believe Chen Jie's nonsense. "I mean, we can talk about it." Chen Jie was a little afraid that Yang Ming wouldn't play by the rules. This kind of person was the most troublesome. When he was in the south, he was unwilling to deal with such people. He couldn't be persuaded by force or persuasion unless he found someone more powerful to pressure them. "Talk about what?" Yang Ming asked. "Talk about what great benefits you want to give me?" "Yes." Chen Jie regained his confidence when he talked about this great benefit. "Yang Ming, why do people live in this world? Talk to me about life." Yang Ming shrugged. "What do you think?" "I think that people need to enjoy life. But to enjoy life, you must have money first. If you don't have money, how can you enjoy life?" Chen Jie talked about what he was good at and began to talk. "So, I think that people need to make money first, and then enjoy life. Do you think I'm right?" "Sorry, I don't think the same as you. I can't say if you're right or not." Yang Ming shook his head faintly. "Oh." Chen Jie was stunned. "What do you mean? You don't like money?" Chapter 1573. Chen Jie had a lot of calculations before. He believed that most people would agree with him after he said this sentence. How could one not enjoy life? If one wanted to enjoy life, one must have money. It's not about whether I like it or not. I have no concept of money. Yang Ming said calmly. "I think that I live for the people I love and the people who love me. I will make the people around me live better. If you don't have money, how can you make the people around you live better?" Chen Jie frowned. He secretly thought, this Yang Ming is beating around the bush. Why is he beating around the bush? He didn't believe that Yang Ming really didn't like money. He felt that the reason why Yang Ming was beating around the bush was that the chips he proposed were not enough. In his opinion, everyone had value. It just depended on whether he could afford to pay that value. How do you know that I don't have money? Yang Ming asked. Moreover, the value of happiness is not measured purely from a monetary point of view. Even without money, I can still live well. When Yang Ming said this, he couldn't help but think of the last period of high school, with Chen Mengyan, Zhao Ying, and Lan Ling. Although he didn't have much money at that time, he lived a very carefree life. It wasn't necessarily bad. Yang Ming, I won't beat around the bush with you. I'll just say it directly. Chen Jia had no choice. If Yang Ming continued to beat around the bush, he would be confused. He decided to say his purpose and chips directly. You should have done this earlier. Yang Ming curled his lips. I knew that a low-class person like you wouldn't understand my life ideals. Huh? Low-class person? Chen Jia was about to explode when he heard Yang Ming's words. What is a low-class person? Is he a high-class person? Isn't this word too insulting? However, in order to achieve his purpose, Chen Jia couldn't directly fall out with Yang Ming on the spot. He could only hold back his anger and said, in short, if you leave Chen Mengyan, I will give you 1 million yuan. Oh. Yang Ming raised his eyelids and looked at Chen Jia from top to bottom, as if he was looking at a big fool. Chen Jia felt a little scared. What are you looking at? I'll give you 1 million. Do you agree? Chen Jia repeated uncomfortably. I'm looking to see if you're retarded. Yang Ming looked at Chen Jia mockingly. You think 1 million is a lot? Chen Jia was about to go crazy, but he held back from exploding. Then, how much do you want? I'll give you 1 million to let your wife be with someone else. Will you do it? Yang Ming said this and suddenly slapped his forehead. Oh, Xiaorui, I remember now. Your wife has already run away with someone else. It doesn't matter if you do it or not, Yang Ming, don't go too far. Chen Jia couldn't hold back the anger in his heart and finally exploded. Yang Ming touched the scar deep in his heart, making his heart bleed. He was angry. Do you think that I'm afraid of you, so I'm here to negotiate with you? Who do you think you are? You think 1 million is too little? Why don't you go rob a bank? Oh, then since you think it's a lot, I'll leave it for you to spend. If there's nothing else, then I'll leave first. Yang Ming felt that although Chen Jia was hateful yesterday, he had the aura of a superior. Now it seemed that he was just pretending to be superior. Yang Ming guessed right about this. Chen Jia's aura yesterday was all learned from Kaik. He had just been the chairman for a few days. How could he cultivate the aura of a superior? He had been acting like a grandson in front of Kaik before, so he immediately revealed his true colors after being provoked by Yang Ming. Moreover, although Chen Jia was very rich, his consciousness had not changed yet. He used to act like a grandson, but he did not spend money extravagantly. He always thought that he was working for others. He might be fired one day, so he had to save money so that he would not have no savings when he lost his job. Therefore, the price he gave Yang Ming was based on his previous thoughts. Some small farmers felt that 1 million was a lot, but compared with his hundreds of millions of wealth, this was really nothing. Wait. How could Chen Jia let Yang Ming go like this? His purpose of looking for Yang Ming had not been achieved yet. If he let Yang Ming go like this, wouldn't it be a waste of effort? Is there anything else? Yang Ming asked without looking back. Well, I underestimated you just now. You name a price. How about 5 million? Chen Jia took a deep breath and temporarily suppressed the anger in his heart. After Yang Ming left Chen Mengyan, it would not be too late to deal with him. He suddenly increased the price by 5 times because he wanted to give Yang Ming a sensory shock. 5 million. Can you change your wife's mind if you take out 5 million? The sarcasm on Yang Ming's face became stronger. Do you think that money is omnipotent? Yang Ming, that's another matter. I'm asking you now. Why do you keep mentioning my ex-wife? Chen Jie was about to explode. Why does Yang Ming talk so much nonsense? Just tell me if 5 million is enough or not. If it's not enough, I'll add more. You don't have to go back and forth like this, right? Well, then you answer me first. Can you get your ex-wife back with your money? Yang Ming didn't answer Chen Jie's words at all, but continued to ask. I said that these are two different things. First, my ex-wife doesn't know that I have so much money now. Second, my ex-wife has remarried. It's not like a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship like yours that can be separated at any time. Chen Jie felt that his head was about to explode. He endured the danger of explosion and explained to Yang Ming. I'm afraid that your ex-wife won't do anything if she knows that you have so much money because the one she found later is also very rich. He may not be as rich as you, but when money reaches a certain level, it can only be a string of numbers. Yang Ming said with a smile, if you can buy it, he can also buy it. No matter how much money you have, can you buy everything in the world and put it at home? Of course, you can't. You can only choose what you like. You motherfucker. Chen Jie finally couldn't help but fly into a rage. Yang Ming, is it meaningful for you to say so much to me? Tell me, how much money do you need to leave Chen Mengyan? Why don't you ask Chen Mengyan how much money she needs to leave me? Asked Yang Ming. Chen Jie was speechless for a while. He already knew from Chen Xiaolong that Chen Xiaolong had tested Chen Mengyan a few times yesterday. The results were not very good, so Chen Jie decided to start with Yang Ming. However, Chen Xiaolong would also work on both sides at the same time. When Chen Jie made an appointment with Yang Ming, Chen Xiaolong also went to find Chen Mengyan. Don't talk about those useless things. Say a number. Chen Jie roared. After so long, you still don't understand. Yang Ming shook his head. My son is retarded, and I am not smart. No wonder the child's mother ran away. Yang Ming's words could be said to be extremely sinister. He scolded 3 people at once. Chen Jie's face had turned purple. If he wasn't afraid of Yang Ming's thugs at the door, he would have already slapped Yang Ming. Yang Ming, what do you mean? Are you playing with me? Asked Chen Jie with a pale face. I didn't play with you. You didn't understand what I meant from beginning to end. Yang Ming sighed. I have already said before that I am not short of money, but you still talk to me about 1 million or 5 million. I don't understand. Do you not understand me, or do you think I am lying to you? You. Chen Jie was so angry that he couldn't speak. Moreover, I wanted to leave here several times, but you didn't let me go. How did it become me playing with you? Yang Ming shook his head. Do you have money? I have already investigated. Your father, Yang Dehai, is a laid-off worker. I was the leader of his workshop. Now, the factory has closed down. Chen Jie said hoarsely, your mother has never had a job. She is a temporary worker. Chen Xiaolong told me all this. What money do you have? Oh, you are right. Yang Ming nodded. I have never denied the work my parents used to do, and I don't think it is shameful to be laid off. However, you have said so much, but you have neglected one person. In my family, besides my parents, there is also me. Chapter 1574. You? Chen Jie was slightly stunned. He looked at Yang Ming inexplicably. What do you mean by you? Is there something special about you? Aren't you a student at Songjiang Industry University? Yeah, I didn't say I wasn't. Yang Ming shrugged. However, I'm afraid you haven't figured out my other identities or how many assets I have. You? Have assets? Could it be that you won the lottery? You don't care about this 5 million? Chen Jie frowned. He naturally didn't think that Yang Ming's money came from business or other channels. In his opinion, Yang Ming was a freshman. Even if he had money, this money was probably a gift from the heavens. It was impossible for Yang Ming to earn it himself. First of all, he thought that Yang Ming was just a student. It was impossible for him to do business. Secondly, Yang Ming's parents were both laid-off workers. They didn't have any resources and channels. Even if Yang Ming did business, he could only open a small shop or something. It was basically impossible to earn 5 million. Although 5 million was not a lot in Chen Jia's eyes, it was an amount that most people couldn't earn in a lifetime. Therefore, if Yang Ming didn't care about 5 million, there was only one possibility. That was, Yang Ming had won the lottery. Only this possibility would be accepted by Chen Jia. Won the lottery? Yang Ming couldn't help but laugh when he heard Chen Jia's words. Yes, I bought the lottery and did win the prize. When Chen Jia heard Yang Ming admit it, his face immediately showed a look of understanding. He had an expression that said, "Look, it's true. But I didn't win the first prize, but the third prize, 60,000 yuan. Yang Ming immediately added. Only 60,000 yuan? Chen Jia didn't believe it. Then how much do you think it is? Asked Yang Ming. Then, you only have 60,000 yuan. You actually think that 5 million is too little? Chen Jia frowned. He didn't know what Yang Ming meant. I said that I won 60,000 yuan, but who told you that I only have 60,000 yuan? Yang Ming looked at Chen Jia and curled his lips. You. Chen Jia felt that Yang Ming's words were too irritating. He didn't finish his words at once. It really made him feel anxious. What? Yang Ming spread his hands innocently. You asked me if I won the lottery. Is there anything wrong with me saying that I won 60,000 yuan? Okay. Then tell me, where else can you get money? Chen Jia was about to faint. He rolled his eyes and asked. If he wasn't afraid of the large group of people that Yang Ming had ambushed at the door, he would have already fallen out with Yang Ming. However, because of the previous example of the 2 bodyguards, Chen Jia didn't dare to act rashly. He was afraid that Yang Ming would call people to beat him up. That would be a disaster. I really don't know if you are deliberately pretending to be stupid, or you really don't understand. Yang Ming sighed and said, You are such an idiot. How did you become a billionaire? Oh, yes, I heard that you used to flatter a foreigner. Then, the foreigner returned to China and left the company to you. Is that right? Fuck. Chen Jia was so angry that he trembled. He blurted out a curse, but quickly stopped halfway. This Yang Ming has a group of people. If I scold him, he will take the opportunity to fix me. Then, the loss outweighs the gain. So, he took 2 deep breaths and calmed himself down. Now tell me, how much money do you have? Don't talk about those useless things. Oh, that's right. Yang Ming smiled apologetically. I'm sorry, Xiaorui. I really feel it. Seeing that you are such an idiot, I have to say a few words of praise. Humph. Chen Jia thought, when I figure out Yang Ming's matter, I must find a chance to mess with him. Originally, Chen Jia planned to give Yang Ming a sum of money to let him leave Chen Mengyan. He didn't want to have anything to do with him in the future. But now, Chen Jia felt that if he didn't mess with Yang Ming, it would be difficult to resolve the hatred in his heart. Didn't I say before? This is my territory. Yang Ming looked at Chen Jia and said, You can't not understand this sentence, right? My territory, understand? You want to say that you are the local tyrant of Songjiang? Chen Jia frowned. Damn, Yang Ming was speechless. Jia, your IQ has reached an amazing level. Yang Ming, don't think that I am afraid of you just because I am talking to you nicely now. If I didn't want to solve this matter peacefully, do you think that you can do anything to me with just a few people at your door? Chen Jia finally couldn't help but burst out. If I make a call, the hotel security will arrive immediately. Your people are entangled here. It is obvious that they are up to no good. What do you think will happen to them? Sorry, the person who took the lead just now is the security captain here. Yang Ming said apologetically, you are really retarded. This Songjiang International Hotel is my territory. This is my industry. You still don't understand this truth? What did you say? Qin Jie looked at Yang Ming in disbelief. His eyes widened and were full of doubt. This place is yours? If it's not mine, how can it be called my territory? Yang Ming smiled and looked at Qin Jie. Otherwise, how can I come here alone? Do you think I am stupid? Qin Jie's expression became uncertain. This time, he was really shocked. This Songjiang International Hotel actually belongs to Yang Ming? This was something that Qin Jie couldn't believe. However, since Yang Ming said so, Qin Jie didn't think that Yang Ming was lying to him. After all, this matter could be known as long as he inquired about it. Moreover, Yang Ming didn't have to lie to him about this. If this hotel was Yang Ming's, then Yang Ming naturally wouldn't care about the 5 million yuan. With the size and location of this hotel, the total value was probably more than 100 million yuan. What was 5 million yuan? However, how could Yang Ming own such a big industry? How is this possible? Aren't his parents laid-off workers? Isn't Yang Ming just a hooligan student? Wait. Punk? Qin Jie frowned. It was possible for a punk to open an entertainment city in the end, and then a hotel. This also followed the law of the market. Could it be that Yang Ming was the lucky one? There were cases where a punk became a big boss. There were a few in every city. They used to be punks on the streets, but they eventually became tycoons through hard work. Well, Yang Ming, since this hotel is yours, then it's my mistake. Qin Jie sighed. The market value of this hotel is probably a few 100 million yuan. You really don't care about 5 million yuan. You only know now. Yang Ming looked at Qin Jie and said sarcastically, now, can I go? Okay, you can go. Qin Jie knew that his plan today was completely ruined. After he knew that this hotel was Yang Ming's industry, he gave up the idea of tempting Yang Ming with money. He also knew that no matter what he said today, he would not achieve his goal. However, he didn't intend to let Yang Ming go just like that. The humiliation that Yang Ming gave him today, he would definitely return it in the future. Although Yang Ming now had the qualifications to be on equal footing with him, he was not alone. He had a backer. Behind him was Kai-ik, the young patriarch of the big family. People should know how to face their own abilities. Yang Ming seemed to see Qin Jie's unwillingness. He smiled ambiguously. I hope you can really give up so that we will have nothing to do with each other in the future. What do you mean? Qin Jie's face became ugly again. Are you threatening me or warning me? I'm just saying it casually. Why do you think so much? Yang Ming shook his head. If you really don't have any ulterior motives in your heart, you can just pretend that I didn't say anything. However, if you really have any bad intentions, then you can take what I just said as a threat or a warning. It doesn't matter. I just want to tell you not to be caught in a trap of your own making. It wasn't easy for you to achieve what you have today. If you ruin it, then it will be too late for regrets. Chapter 1575. You are still threatening me. Qin Jie understood the meaning of Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming, although you also have hundreds of millions of assets, some people and some things are not as simple as what you see on the surface. Do you think you have the qualifications to be on equal footing with me? I might as well tell you that I also have a backer behind me. Backer? Well, do whatever you want. Yang Ming didn't want to argue with Qin Jie. He turned around and prepared to leave. I have said what I should say. You can think whatever you want. Well, Yang Ming, since you don't know how to appreciate favors, then we will wait and see. Knowing that this hotel belonged to Yang Ming, Qin Jie was relieved. He thought that Yang Ming wouldn't mess around in his hotel, nor would he let the security guards at the door come in and do anything to him. Yang Ming shrugged and didn't reply. He walked out of the room quickly and closed the door behind him. In a blink of an eye, he saw the security captain, Xiao Zhang, who was still standing at the door. "Brother Yang." Xiao Zhang saw Yang Ming come out and quickly greeted him. "Xiao Zhang. Why are you still here?" Yang Ming wasn't surprised. After all, he had used his special ability to probe before. Xiao Zhang had been waiting for him at the door. It was just that this special ability couldn't be revealed, so he asked this question. "Brother Yang, I ordered people to take those two guys away. I was afraid that you still had something to do, so I waited here. I didn't hinder you, right?" Xiao Zhang quickly apologized. "Nothing." Yang Ming shook his head. "Where are those two people?" "They are now locked in the basement," Xiao Zhang said. "Brother Yang, you didn't say how to deal with them, so I didn't dare to act rashly." And Yang Ming was very satisfied with Xiao Zhang being so obedient, so he said, "Find a few brothers to teach them a lesson and let them go. It's useless to catch them. Do you expect us to provide food for them?" "Hee, that's true. When they are hungry, let them order from the hotel. It can be considered as generating revenue for the hotel." Xiao Zhang nodded and responded. "The position of the hotel's security director is still empty. How about this? You can be the deputy director for now. After a while, you can find someone to take over your position as the captain and become the official." Yang Ming recognized Xiao Zhang's performance today, so Yang was not stingy with people who sincerely worked for him. "Thank you, Brother Yang." Xiao Zhang didn't expect that he would be so lucky. He was still envious of little Wang this morning. In the blink of an eye, he was also promoted. Perhaps, he was the fastest person to be promoted in history. He was promoted to the deputy director of the hotel security department after being the security captain for less than a day. As a matter of fact, the deputy director of the security department was one of the company's senior leaders. He usually didn't need to be on duty. He just had to sit in the office. Moreover, the authority was much greater. Not only did he manage the security team, but the hotel's gym, swimming pool, and other places were also managed by the security department. He was much better than the previous security captain. Yang Ming waved his hand. "Do a good job. Don't let me down." "Don't worry, Brother Yang." Xiao Zhang quickly expressed his determination. "I will work hard and live up to your expectations." Yang Ming nodded. "Well, go back to work. I will talk to Bao Sanli about this, but I have to leave now." "Brother Yang, take care," Xiao Zhang said quickly. Yang Ming signaled that he didn't need to follow and entered the elevator by himself. Looking at Qinjia's reaction in the last few words, it seems that he hasn't given up. Although I gave him some shock today, it was obviously not enough. Qinjia probably won't give up. Yang Ming sighed. Some people just can't look at themselves. They don't know how to act according to their abilities. They just have to do something beyond their abilities. When they regret it, it will be too late. In Yang Ming's opinion, Qinjia was such a person. Although he had already hinted to him not to destroy his future and go against him, Qinjia obviously didn't listen. Instead, he felt that Yang Ming was threatening him, and he was even more unconvinced. As a result, it was foreseeable that Qinjia would do something else. "This is the last chance I'm giving you. If you are still stubborn, then I have no other way." Yang Ming said to himself, "I let you go this time because Uncle Chen also came from the Qin family village. Next time, I won't be merciful. I hope you know what you're doing and can pull yourself back from the brink." Yang Ming came out of the elevator and nodded to Manager Lu in the lobby. Then, he quickly left the hotel. He walked into the parking lot and just got in the car when the phone rang. It was Sun Jia. "Hello, little Jia." Yang Ming picked up the phone. "Yang Ming, I'm done with class." "What happened before?" asked Sun Jia. "Nothing. I just wanted to tell you that I'm back from outside. I'm now in Songjiang. When I called you just now, I was at school. I wanted to ask if you have time to have lunch together," said Yang Ming. Lunch? I'm afraid I can't make it at noon. I already have an appointment with someone, said Sun Jia apologetically. An appointment with someone? Is it Qing Qing? Yang Ming asked with a smile. If it's Qing Qing, then let's eat together. There is indeed Sister Qing Qing, but there is also a classmate from our graduate class. She has a good relationship with me and Sister Xiao Qing. Sun Jia said, we have already agreed to eat together at noon. If you come, it's not very good, right? If she sees something, how embarrassing would that be? If that's the case, then forget it. Let's do it another day. Yang Ming said with some regret. Let's do it at night. I'm free at night. I'll ask Sister Xiao Qing again if it's okay. Sun Jia thought about it and said. Well, let's contact by phone then. Yang Ming hadn't been intimate with Sun Jia for a long time. Thinking of Sun Jia's figure, Yang Ming couldn't help but swallow. Especially when he thought of Sun Jia and Xiao Qing together, he was even more restless. Hee, what's wrong? Are you unhappy? Sun Jia seemed to feel that Yang Ming's mood wasn't right, so she asked. It's nothing. I'm preparing to drive. Yang Ming said with some embarrassment. If it's nothing, then I'll hang up first. My classmate is coming over. Sun Jia said to Yang Ming with a smile. Okay, I'll contact you. Yang Ming heard someone calling Sun Jia's name on the other side of the phone, so he said. However, the voice calling Sun Jia's name on the other side seemed to be familiar. It seemed that he had heard it somewhere before. However, it wasn't very clear through the phone, especially since it wasn't said directly to the phone, but it came from a distance. Yang Ming recalled it slightly. He didn't think of anything, so he didn't take it seriously. After getting in the car, Yang Ming drove in the direction of the university. Yang Ming planned to find Zhang Bin and Tian Donghua to have a meal together at noon. He hadn't seen these two brothers for a long time. Zhang Bin, where are you? Yang Ming drove and called Zhang Bin. Damn, bro, it's really you. Zhang Bin suddenly shouted, I thought you disappeared a while ago. If I didn't see sister-in-law Meng Yan and know that you went out of town, I would have thought that you were taken away by aliens. You kid, you're not serious. Yang Ming listened to Zhang Bin's words and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I have something to do, so I went out for a while. I'm just saying it casually. Zhang Bin said with a smile, bro, I'm at the university. Why? What's the matter? Do you have something to do in a while? Let's have a meal together. Asked Yang Ming. Damn, what do you mean by do you have time? Bro has an appointment. No matter how important it is, I have to postpone it. Wait for me to give Cece a call. The two of us will definitely eat you up at noon. Zhang Bing said. And, then you wait for me. I will be at the university in a while. Yang Ming said. Okay, wait for me to go to the toilet first and empty my stomach. Zhang Bin screamed. Yang Ming was helpless. My good brother is always such a clown. He has been like this since high school. Yang Ming hung up the phone call with Zhang Bin and dialed Tian Donghua's phone again. Bro? You finally remember me? Tian Donghua's resentful voice came from the phone. Chapter 1576. However, the way he addressed Yang Ming was the same as Zhang Bin. What do you mean by finally remembering you? Yang Ming sweated a little. You ignored me for so long. I thought you were going to abandon me. Tian Donghua sighed like a resentful woman. I went out a while ago. Yang Ming had no choice but to repeat what he just said to Zhang Bin to Tian Donghua. I had something to do. I just came back, I just said it casually. Tian Donghua's words were the same as Zhang Bin's. I'm just bored because the pressure at work is too great. Pressure at work? Yang Ming was stunned. I have started to learn and deal with the affairs of the Hongjun group. Tian Donghua said, otherwise, Uncle's son can't handle it alone. It's too tiring every day. You are in Donghai now? Yang Ming asked, baffled. Yeah, I have been here for more than a week. Tian Donghua said, although I am very busy every day, it is very fulfilling. So you are in Donghai. I thought you were in Songjiang. Yang Ming said helplessly, I wanted to have lunch with you. Now it seems impossible. Lunch, forget it. It will take me more than an hour to drive back. I still have to drive fast. Tian Donghua said, if I take the old road, it will take more than 3 hours. Next time there is a chance. You don't have to come back. Yang Ming said with a smile, that's fine. You go ahead. Hee hee, bro, come and see your brother when you are free. I'm exhausted. Tian Donghua was now in pain and happy. Although he was tired every day, this feeling of fulfillment made him very satisfied. Yang Ming shook his head and hung up the phone. Sun Jia, here. Zhao Ying waved to Sun Jia, who was talking on the phone. Okay, I got it. Sun Jia said a few words to Yang Ming on the other side of the phone and hung up the phone. Zhao Ying, why are you so late? I have been waiting for you for a long time. Sun Jia walked in the direction of Zhao Ying. I came out a long time ago, but I couldn't bear to disturb you when you were talking on the phone so intimately. Zhao Ying joked, who is it? Could it be her boyfriend? Hee hee. Sun Jia smiled noncommittally. Sister Xiaoqing hasn't come yet? Sister Xiaoqing is very busy. She said that she won't be coming. Zhao Ying shook her head. She seems to be busy with a project. I know. That wireless network protocol project. Sun Jia nodded. Then let's eat together. Don't worry about her. Sister Sun Jia, what do you want to eat? Asked Zhao Ying. Just the two of us. Feel free. We can go to the school cafeteria. I haven't eaten there for a long time. Sun Jia said after thinking about it. Then let's go to the cafeteria. Zhao Ying nodded. Sun Jia, Zhao Ying. What a coincidence. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying were talking when a handsome young man walked towards them. It was Fan Jinja, their graduate student in the computer science class. Chapter 1577. Hee hee. Yeah, what a coincidence. Sun Jia was much more generous than Zhao Ying. When she saw Fan Jinja coming over to strike up a conversation, she immediately replied. She especially emphasized the words, what a coincidence. Fan Jinja naturally heard the sarcasm in Sun Jia's words, and he suddenly looked a little embarrassed. To be honest, he had a good impression of both Sun Jia and Zhao Ying, but he liked Sun Jia more. There was no other reason. It was just that Sun Jia's figure was too hot, especially her huge breasts. This made Fan Jinja always fantasized about Sun Jia. As for Zhao Ying, although she was not inferior to Sun Jia in terms of appearance, her figure was slightly worse than Sun Jia's. However, Zhao Ying was more well-proportioned, and Sun Jia was more like a cow. After seeing Sun Jia's craftiness a few times, Fan Jinja knew that Sun Jia was not a simple woman. She was not so easy to fool and pursue, so Fan Jinja still rationally targeted Zhao Ying. In contrast, Zhao Ying was much more pure and shy. Especially since Fan Jinja had studied women's physiological conditions for a period of time, he could see that Sun Jia was no longer a virgin, but Zhao Ying was. Therefore, Fan Jinja targeted Zhao Ying even more. You haven't eaten lunch yet, right? Why don't we go together? Fan Jinja pretended not to hear the implied meaning in Sun Jia's words and invited, find a restaurant, my treat. No need, we'll eat in the cafeteria. Sun Jia shook her head and rejected Fan Jinja's kindness. Don't be in a hurry to reject. Zhao Ying hasn't said anything yet, right? Since Fan Jinja had already chosen a target, he did not care much about Sun Jia's thoughts and directly objected. I eat in the cafeteria with Sun Jia. Zhao Ying had to speak at this time. Although she hated Fan Jinja would definitely chatter endlessly if she did not express her opinion at this time. This. Fan Jinja was even more embarrassed. Then let's eat in the cafeteria. I also eat in the cafeteria. Do as you wish. Sun Jia glanced at him and sighed that there was really someone who was not afraid of death. If Yang Ming saw him pestering her, it would be good if he did not beat him until his grandma could not recognize him. So, Sun Jia and Zhao Ying walked in front while Fan Jinja walked behind them. It was a very strange situation. Why is he so irritating? Zhao. She was his target. Was he? Fan Jinja was? In the end, Yang Ming helped him. Him? His target is you, Zhao Ying. I was just implicated. Sun Jia shrugged. However, Zhao Ying, you don't have a boyfriend. You might as well consider it. I heard that he opened a company outside of school. The scale is around a few million. He has an annual income of hundreds of thousands. Then why didn't you consider Sun Jia? Zhao Ying shook her head. Don't I have a boyfriend? You heard it when we were on the phone just now. Sun Jia said, as for you, I didn't see any intimate actions between you and any boy, me. AI. Zhao Ying sighed. Didn't I tell you before? I like a boy, but, me and him. Forget it, I won't say it. What's wrong? Why don't you say it? Sun Jia was a little curious when she heard Zhao Ying's words. This was the first time that Zhao Ying talked to her about feelings. In the past, Zhao Ying always avoided talking about this topic. Today, Zhao Ying revealed some of her inner thoughts. Nothing. Zhao Ying shook her head. Let's talk about it later. The person behind me is very annoying. With him around, how can I talk about other things? We will get rid of him when we reach the cafeteria. Sun Jia frowned. She didn't have any good way to deal with people like Fan Jinja. He was like a gum that couldn't be gotten rid of. Zhao Ying nodded. Both of them quickened their pace at the same time and walked toward the cafeteria. Behind them, Fan Jinja didn't know why the two of them quickened their pace, but he also quickened his pace and chased after them. After entering the cafeteria, Sun Jia found a table for two and sat down first. This way, she could avoid Fan Jinja sitting next to them shamelessly. Sure enough, Fan Jinja frowned when he saw Sun Jia choose a table for two. This damn woman, I am pursuing Zhao Ying, not you. Why are you following me? If it weren't for your beauty and good figure, I would have scolded you. Fan Jinja was unhappy, so he could only sit at the table next to Zhao Ying. Although they were more than a meter apart, at least they were close enough to look at each other. I'll reserve a seat here. Are you going to get the food? Sun Jia looked at Fan Jinja, who followed her, and asked. It's better for you to go. I'm afraid that I can't handle it when he comes up to pay for me. Zhao Ying said worriedly. Well, you stay here. I'll go buy it. Sun Jia said and was ready to stand up. What do you want to eat? Alfalfa, persimmons, and a small portion of rice. Said Zhao Ying. Is it that simple? Sun Jia asked puzzledly when she heard that Zhao Ying only ate so little. I can't eat too much for lunch. Zhao Ying shrugged and lowered her voice. Who can eat when there is a fly watching them? Hee, okay. Sun Jia couldn't help but smile when she heard Zhao Ying describe Fan Jinja as a fly. Chapter 1578. Sun Jia turned around to buy something. Fan Jinja hesitated, stood up, and followed her. Although he also wanted to talk to Zhao Ying here, he hadn't bought anything yet. It would be a dream if he wanted Sun Jia to buy something for him. Sun Jia, wait for me. Let's go together, Fan Jinja shouted to Sun Jia. Sun Jia ignored Fan Jinja and pretended not to hear him. Sun Jia was originally the little princess of Donghai who was not afraid of anything. Now that she had Yang Ming, no one dared to provoke her in Songjiang. Naturally, she would not give Fan Jinja any face. Sun Jia. Fan Jinja quickly sped up and caught up with her while panting, "Wait for me. Why didn't you hear me?" "Oh, the cafeteria is too noisy." "Naturally, I didn't hear you," Sun Jia replied helplessly when she saw Fan Jinja catching up. In the current situation, Sun Jia naturally couldn't ignore him. After all, they were still classmates. There was no need to make their relationship too bad. "Sun Jia, what do you want to eat?" "I'll buy it for you." Fan Jinja said heroically, "I'm a man. This cafeteria is too crowded. It won't be easy for you girls to squeeze in." "No need. I'll buy it myself," Sun Jia refused coldly. "Moreover, there aren't many people now." Fan Jinja laughed dryly. Seeing that Sun Jia refused him, he had to follow behind. 2 sets of alfalfa persimmons. Sun Jia walked to the fast food window and said to the chef inside, 2 more boxes of rice." "Okay." The chef was a pervert. Seeing Sun Jia's beauty and hot figure, he scooped 2 big spoons. The food on the plate almost popped out. Then, he handed it to Sun Jia with a smile. "Student, please take it." "Thank you." Sun Jia smiled sweetly at the chef. She took the plate and turned away. "You're welcome." The chef looked at Sun Jia's graceful figure as she left, and his face showed a lecherous expression. "I also want an alfalfa persimmon and a box of rice." When Fan Jinja saw Sun Jia leave, he didn't choose other dishes, so he asked for the exact same dish. He thought that if he ate the same dish as them, he might be able to gain their favor. The waiter was admiring Sun Jia's graceful back when he was suddenly interrupted by Fan Jinja. He frowned and said, "What are you shouting for?" "I heard you." Fan Jinja didn't know how he had offended this great master. He was baffled. Just now, he was fine. When he faced Sun Jia, he was still smiling. How come when it came to me, he frowned? However, Fan Jinja was too lazy to talk to the chef. He swiped his card and waited for the chef to serve him the dishes. The chef was very upset that Fan Jinja interrupted him from looking at the beauty. So, when he served the dishes, he deliberately served less. Not to mention that it was not as much as Sun Jia, but it was even less than the normal amount. "You gave her so much, why did you give me so little?" Fan Jinja was a little unhappy when he saw the dish handed over by the chef. He was a man. This little bit was not enough for him. It would be fine if it was just a little bit less, but this is too little, isn't it? What's less? How much is a pound of persimmons now? How much is a pound of eggs now? Do you want it? If not, I'll go back. When the chef heard that Fan Jinja was still being picky, he was even more dissatisfied. He raised his eyebrows and was about to put the dish back into the bowl. Okay, then you get me another dish." Fan Jinja saw that the chef was angry and was too lazy to argue with him. He still had time to pick up girls. How could he have time to argue with him? Isn't it just a dish? It was 3 to 5 yuan. Fan Jinja was not short of money. The chef scooped a small spoonful of alfalfa persimmons into the plate, then handed it to Fan Jinja and said, "Okay, I got you another dish." As Fan Jinja spoke, he swiped his meal card again. Fan Jinja was really going to go berserk this time. Isn't this too little? 2 servings is less than 1 serving for Sun Jia. What the hell is this? What is this? Are you going to take it or not? The chef saw that Fan Jinja did not take the plate, so he rolled his eyes and asked, "Aren't you bullying me? Are you giving me 2 servings?" Fan Jinja was considered a celebrity on campus. He had a company outside of campus. He was quite awesome wherever he went. When had he ever been bullied like this? If I say so, then so be it. The chef snorted and was a little impatient. "I say, how can a man like you be so wishy-washy? Did you see how straightforward that little girl was? She didn't even say a word of nonsense, but you were super wishy-washy like a woman. Look at how glossy your clothes are. Don't tell me they're all fake and imitations. Fan Jinja wanted to curse. If he was not afraid that Zhao Ying would see him like this, he would definitely not let it go. He suppressed his anger and took a deep breath. Just as he was about to take the plate and forget about it, an accident happened. Master, give me a plate of alfalfa persimmons. A girl walked over, said to the chef, and swiped her card. Okay. The chef nodded, scooped another spoonful of food on Fan Jinja's plate, and handed it to the girl. For you. Thank you. The girl smiled sweetly and left with the plate. Fan Jinja's face immediately darkened. It was fine that Sun Jia bought a lot before, but the girl after that also bought so much. Moreover, there was an extra spoonful of food on his plate of 2 servings. How could Fan Jinja endure this? You, what do you mean? Fan Jinja was furious. Nothing. Do you want it? If not, give me your meal card. I will refund you. The chef said without looking up. Yes. Give me 3 servings of alfalfa persimmons and 2 boxes of rice. Fan Jinja endured it. This time, he asked for 3 servings and swiped his card again. Ka. The chef scooped 3 spoonfuls of food and handed them to Fan Jinja. When Fan Jinja saw this, he almost went crazy again. This time, the 3 servings were almost the same as the previous 2 servings. It seemed to be less. Give me 2 more servings of alfalfa persimmons. Fan Jinja thought, since I have endured it, I will continue to endure it. But you fat man, remember this. I will kill you if I have the chance. Ka. The chef scooped 2 more spoonfuls. This time, these 5 servings of food were barely the same as Sun Jia's and the girls. This made Fan Jinja feel like he was cheated. However, in this case, Fan Jinja could only accept it. There was no other way. Fan Jinja glared at the chef, carried the plate and rice, and walked toward Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. Idiot. The chef curled his lips and scolded. Fan Jinja heard it clearly. He staggered and almost dropped the plate in his hand. He thought, I gave him so much money, and he still scolded me for being an idiot. What kind of world is this? However, Fan Jinja was anxious to talk to Zhao Ying, so he didn't bother with the master anymore. This gigolo is so cowardly. He is messing with him, but he doesn't have any courage. He really has no guts. The chef shook his head. Fan Jinja already hated this chef to death. He thought, when I don't pick up girls next time, I will teach you a lesson. Fan Jinja walked to Sun Jia and Zhao Ying, but found that the table and chair next to them had been occupied by a man and a woman. They should be a couple. Fan Jinja frowned and thought, there are so many seats in this cafeteria. Why did you have to sit here? Aren't you creating trouble for me? Putting the plate and rice on the table, Fan Jinja said to the couple, can you change your seats? This is my seat. Your seat. The girl raised her head in confusion and looked at Fan Jinja. This is your seat. Why didn't I know? I sit here basically every day. When did this place become yours? Chapter 1579. I took the seat before. Fan Jinja explained patiently, I was sitting here before I went to get the food. That's funny. So it's yours just because you took the seat before? The girl was amused, then I said that I took the seat yesterday. I took the seat the day before yesterday. Is it still mine today? Classmate, can you change your seat? It's the same if you sit over there. Fan Jinja said while suppressing his anger. Why should I change my seat over there? Why don't you change your seat? Isn't it the same if you sit over there? The girl retorted. You are being unreasonable. Fan Jinja did not expect to be so unlucky today. First, he was tricked by the chef who served the dishes, then his seat was taken by someone else. The person who took the seat was still being unreasonable. I'm being unreasonable? Watch your words. Can you do it or not? This is a public cafeteria. Are you brainless? The girl frowned. It's only because of my current temper. If it was in the past, humph. So what if it was in the past? Are you threatening me? Fan Jinja was threatened by a girl in front of Sun Jia and Zhao Ying. He suddenly felt embarrassed. Why don't you find out who I am? I, Fan Jinja, am also famous in the school. Fuck your mother, are you done yet? The boy opposite the girl was really annoyed by Fan Jinja's nagging. He picked up the alfalfa persimmon on Fan Jinja's table and smashed it directly on Fan Jinja's face. Get out of here if you don't want to die. This boy was naturally Bai Hai, who came to the school to visit Guxinyao. The girl was naturally Guxinyao. The two of them finally had a meal in the school cafeteria and experienced the beauty of university life, but it was ruined by Fan Jinja. How could Bai Hai just let it go? Originally, Bai Hai did not want to cause trouble, but this Fan Jinja did not know what was good for him. In the end, he even bragged about how famous he was. Bai Hai could not help but give him a slap in the face with a plate. A plate of hot dishes was splashed all over Fan Jinja. His eyes and nose were full of vegetable soup. Fan Jinja was a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect that the boy sitting here would actually make a move without any warning. In an instant, he was in trouble. Wasn't this too fast? You. Fan Jinja pointed at Bai Hai. He was so angry that he couldn't speak. Who are you? If you have the guts to leave your name, Fan Jinja, will remember what happened today. I'm Bai Hai. Bai Hai said, but I don't study here. If you want to take revenge on me, you can look for Jin Gang first. He can find me. Li Jin Gang was an excellent student in the school's physical education department. He was strong and good at fighting. He was famous in the school. Fan Jinja naturally heard of Li Jin Gang's name. He even had a meal with Jin Gang through a friend. Fan Jinja's expression immediately changed when he heard Li Jin Gang's name. Since Bai Hai knew Li Jin Gang and said it so casually, the two must have a close relationship. Otherwise, everyone would call Li Jin Gang brotherly. At this moment, Fan Jinja was in a dilemma. How could he dare to offend Li Jin Gang? In this school, there were probably only a few people who were not afraid of Jin Gang. If it was a normal day, Fan Jinja would just say a few words and this matter would be over. He would not pursue it further. But today was different. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying were watching. If he gave in, wouldn't Zhao Ying and Sun Jia laugh at him? Thinking of this, Fan Jinja gritted his teeth. What Li Jin Gang? I don't know him. Don't say those useless things. You must apologize to me today. Otherwise, don't even think about leaving. What if I don't apologize? Bai Hai suddenly laughed after hearing it. Let's not talk about how you are looking for trouble. Even if I take the initiative to look for trouble with you, you have to accept it. Let's see what you can do to me today. Fan Jinja did not expect Bai Hai to be so tough. He really could not do anything for a while. After all, when it came to fighting, he knew that he was definitely not a match for the strong Bai Hai. I will count to 3. Get lost. Bai Hai frowned. 1, 2, Fan Jinja's face had turned into a purple eggplant. He felt that he had been humiliated, but he did not dare to resist. Zhao Ying, let's go. We won't eat here, Sun Jia said to Zhao Ying, feeling a little disgusted when she saw Fan Jinja on the side. Okay, let's go. Zhao Ying also nodded. She picked up the plate in her hand, stood up, and found another seat with Sun Jia, far away from Fan Jinja. When Fan Jinja saw that Sun Jia and Zhao Ying had left, it was meaningless for him to pretend to be the big brother here. So, he quickly said before Bai Hai said, 3, I'll go. I'll go now. After that, Fan Jinja left Bai Hai's table dejectedly. Sun Jia and Zhao Ying were now sitting in the crowd. There were more and more people in the cafeteria. There were already people around them. It was probably impossible for Fan Jinja to squeeze in. After experiencing the incident with Bai Hai, he did not dare to simply grab other people's seats. Moreover, even if there were seats, Fan Jinja would only increase Zhao Ying and Sun Jia's disgust if he went there now. Fan Jinja stomped his feet and walked out of the cafeteria bitterly. He thought, why am I so unlucky today? I must look at the calendar before going out in the future. Then Fan Jinja met a powerful person. Sun Jia shrugged and smiled. The two people over there helped you solve a big problem. He asked for it. He can't blame others. Who asked him to be so overbearing first? Zhao Ying had no sympathy for Fan Jinja. Hee, okay, now that there are no outsiders around, you can tell me about your relationship, right? Sun Jia asked very nosily. Zhao Ying was suddenly embarrassed. She didn't expect Sun Jia to still remember this matter. However, she had already promised Sun Jia before, so it was not good to refuse at this time. She could only say, okay, then I'll tell you. But, you can't tell others. Don't worry, I won't tell others, Sun Jia quickly promised. Actually, how do I put it? Zhao Ying sighed with some self-reproach. I do have a person I like, but he likes someone else, Sun Jia nodded. Regarding this, Zhao Ying vaguely mentioned it before, but it was not very detailed. You mean, he has a girlfriend, right? Zhao Ying saw that Sun Jia understood what she meant, so she nodded quickly. Then, does he like you? Asked Sun Jia. Zhao Ying blushed and lowered her head. She said in a very low voice, he should like me. Oh, I know. What you are struggling with is that he has a girlfriend, but he likes you. You like him, but because of his girlfriend, you can't be with him. Sun Jia nodded and said, is that so? Probably. Zhao Ying said with a red face. Then, does he like his current girlfriend? Sun Jia asked again, that is to say, do you have the confidence to let him break up with his girlfriend and be with you? Or, do you know why he is with his current girlfriend? Is it out of a sense of responsibility, or something else? Break up? Zhao Ying smiled bitterly and shook her head. I'm afraid it's impossible. He also likes his girlfriend very much, and he doesn't only have one girlfriend. So strong. Sun Jia frowned and couldn't help but think of Yang Ming. I seem to have told you last time. Zhao Ying saw that Sun Jia's reaction was not big, and it was a bit strange. Most people would be more or less surprised when they heard this relatively shocking thing. It seems that you have said it before, right? Sun Jia couldn't remember whether Zhao Ying said it or not. However, such a man, you have to consider it. If you decide to choose, don't regret it. If you feel that you can't accept it, then don't continue to develop before you are together. I have decided. I won't regret it. Zhao Ying nodded firmly. However, after that, she felt a little embarrassed. She was so shy that she blushed. Chapter 1580. I really don't know what to say to you. Since you have decided, why aren't you together yet? Sun Jia nodded helplessly. Why does Zhao Ying have the same fate as me? Could it be that beautiful women can't escape this fate? Or are there really too few excellent men? However, since Sun Jia and Yang Ming were together, naturally, she didn't feel that there was anything wrong with Zhao Ying having a similar situation as herself. I used to be his teacher. Zhao Ying's words were shocking. Moreover, I was also his girlfriend's teacher. Although I'm not now, his girlfriend's concept can't be changed in a short time. She shouldn't accept me, you're his teacher? Sun Jia opened her mouth and felt that this was too much of a coincidence. Why does it sound more and more like Yang Ming and Xiao Qing? It was just that Sun Jia didn't say it out loud. Yeah. I used to be. I was his high school teacher. Zhao Ying nodded. Oh my god. Sun Jia was a little dizzy. He is so much younger than you. This is too similar to the relationship between myself, Xiao Qing, and Yang Ming. Sun Jia really had a feeling of a bosom friend. He's not too young. Zhao Ying was a little embarrassed, but since the words had already been said, she naturally let go of her shyness. I also resigned because of him, and then I was admitted to our school as a graduate student. You don't want to tell me that he is a student of our school, right? Sun Jia really wanted to say that in the world, there really was such a thing as, if there is a similarity, it is purely a coincidence. Zhao Ying nodded. Okay, I won't say it. If I say it again, you will get me to say it. Even if you say it again, I don't know him. Sun Jia shook her head helplessly. How long have I stayed in school? Except for a few graduate students, how can I know anyone else? That's also true, but, I really don't know what to do now. Zhao Ying sighed. On the one hand, I really want to be with him. On the other hand, every time I make a decision and take the initiative, something like this always happens, interrupting the matter. Then, I don't have the courage. Isn't this very confusing and unlucky? Oh my god. Sun Jia listened to Zhao Ying's rough love history and was somewhat speechless. Since he likes you, why didn't he take the initiative to chase you? Chase. I did chase him. Zhao Ying sighed. But when he chased me, I retreated. I really don't know what to say about you. A girl like you is really the best. How can you have such a messy relationship like yours? Sun Jia shook her head angrily. You belong to the group of people who don't leave but fight back. What is that? Zhao Ying blinked her eyes and was somewhat baffled. Donkey, said Sun Jia. Zhao Ying was slightly stunned and suddenly complained, You dare to say that I am a donkey? I will ignore you. It's just a joke. Sun Jia smiled. It's just a metaphor. How about this? When you and your little boyfriend go on a date, call me, and I will help you. This kind of thing is actually very simple. Both of you love each other, and there is nothing more than a window paper in between. That isn't very good, right? Zhao Ying hesitated, but there was some expectation in her heart. If Sun Jia could really help her to break the window paper, it would be a good thing. What's not good about it? Sun Jia said, If you think that only I am more awkward, then I will call my boyfriend. Then, we will be more open with 2 men and 2 women. That works too. Zhao Ying thought about it and agreed. Then, I will trouble you. What trouble? Isn't this a piece of cake? Sun Jia smiled. Why don't we do it tonight? It just so happens that I am going out for dinner with my boyfriend tonight. You can also call your student. Stop it. What student? He is not a student for a long time. We are now classmates. Zhao Ying corrected. Okay. A student is a student. Sun Jia smiled. The 2 people talked and laughed for a while, then they left the cafeteria and went to their respective classrooms. Yang Ming looked at the slowing traffic in front of him and frowned. There should be an accident in front. There was no barrier in the middle of this road, and it was relatively narrow. Only 2 cars could pass each other on the left and right. If a car wanted to rush or overtake, it was easy to have an accident. Yang Ming struggled to get to a place a distance away from the accident scene. He was a little bored, so he used his special ability to look in the direction of the accident. At first glance, he couldn't help but be happy. He actually saw an acquaintance. Chen Xiaolong was standing in front of a brand new red BMW 3 Series without a license plate at the moment. He yelled at a taxi driver, Do you know what kind of car this is? BMW. Why don't you give in to me with your broken Jetta? Do you know how to drive? It was no wonder that Chen Xiaolong was angry. He had just taken out a brand new red BMW 3 Series sedan from the BMW 4S shop. He was going to show it off in front of Chen Mengyan, and then give the car to Chen Mengyan to win a good impression. He didn't believe that Chen Mengyan didn't like famous cars. When the time came, he was not afraid that Chen Mengyan would not be tempted. He had already made an appointment with his father, Chen Jie. The two of them would work together. Chen Jie would start from Yang Ming's side, and Chen Xiaolong would start from Chen Mengyan's side. However, it was almost 12:00 when he finished picking up the car. Chen Xiaolong was a little anxious. The lunch break was about to end. He didn't know if Chen Mengyan had classes in the afternoon. It would be fucked if he couldn't see Chen Mengyan. Therefore, Chen Xiaolong had to hurry and overtake all the cars. However, when he was changing lanes to overtake the cars in the opposite direction, he was suddenly hit by a Jetta taxi from the opposite direction. Although both cars braked at the same time, it was still too late. In the end, they collided. Obviously, you were the one who was going in the opposite direction. How can you blame me? The taxi driver was a little aggrieved. However, looking at Chen Xiaolong's arrogant appearance, there was no doubt that he was a second generation. The taxi driver couldn't afford to provoke such a person. Besides, if you hit me, just solve it. Why are you yelling? Yelling? I want to scold you too. Do you know that you've ruined my plans? Chen Xiaolong said with a frown, I'm in a hurry to see my girlfriend. You fucking hit my car. Fuck your grandpa. The taxi driver frowned. Why are you scolding me? The responsibility of this accident is clearly yours. Are you being reasonable? Scold you? Just because my car is a BMW, which is better than yours, I'll scold you. Chen Xiaolong said arrogantly. After saying that, he added, what? You don't accept it? If your car is better than mine, then you can scold me too. You're too unreasonable. Even if your car is a good car, you don't have to be like this, right? The taxi driver was very angry. Even if you have money, you can't bully people like this, right? So what if I bully you? It's good that I didn't hit you. Chen Xiaolong snorted coldly, let me tell you, you're too lucky today. My two bodyguards didn't follow me. Otherwise, they would have beaten you up so badly that even your mother wouldn't recognize you. You. The taxi driver had never seen such an arrogant young man. It was clearly his responsibility to hit others, but he still had such words. Call the police. When the police come, we'll know who's responsible. Hey, whatever. Isn't it just repairing a car? How much is this broken car of yours? I'll just buy you a new one. Chen Xiaolong said proudly, if you continue to dawdle, I'll smash the car for you. When the taxi driver heard Chen Xiaolong's words, he was extremely angry, but there was nothing he could do. However, when Yang Ming saw the appearance of the taxi driver, he couldn't help but be stunned. He hadn't noticed it before, but now that he took a closer look, he realized that it was actually an acquaintance. Here, he was actually able to see two acquaintances, which surprised Yang Ming. Chapter 1581. Yang Ming smiled and parked the car at the temporary parking line on the side of the road. Then, he took out a large wrench from the trunk and walked in Chen Xiaolong's direction. Chen Xiaolong was in a rage with the taxi driver, so he naturally did not see Yang Ming coming over. When Yang Ming walked in front of him, Chen Xiaolong still did not notice because he was already surrounded by onlookers. He did not care and continued to slap the hood of the Jetta taxi while pointing at the taxi driver and shouting, look, your broken car is still an old model of Jetta. How can it be compared to my BMW? If you were a Mercedes-Benz, even if it was an Audi, I wouldn't say anything if you hit me. The key is that your car is too broken. You don't even know how to drive. If I were you, I would feel inferior. The taxi driver stood there helplessly with a bitter smile on his face. He could only wait for the traffic police and the insurance company to deal with the problem. He did not answer because he knew that a second generation like Chen Xiaolong was very arrogant. Even if he answered, it would be useless. On the contrary, it would make him scold him even more fiercely. The taxi driver thought that he might as well not speak. After scolding for a while, he would shut up when he was tired. But who knew that when Chen Xiaolong saw that the taxi driver did not speak, he scolded even more fiercely. Do you have fucking eyes? Let me tell you, not to mention that my car hit your car. Even if I smash your car, I will compensate you with a new one. But can you afford my time? I am a person of status. I am very nervous every minute. How can a small figure like you compare to me? Clang. With a loud sound, as soon as Chen Xiaolong finished speaking, Yang Ming smashed the glass of Chen Xiaolong's BMW with a wrench. The windshield, which had not been covered with an explosion-proof film, was immediately smashed into pieces. Chen Xiaolong heard the loud sound and immediately turned around, only to see Yang Ming holding a wrench and looking at him with a smirk. Chen Xiaolong was about to go crazy. Wasn't he called by his father? How could he still appear here? Isn't this too fucked up? You Yang Ming, what are you going to do? Chen Xiaolong's car was just bought and was hit by a taxi. Although it was not very serious, it already made his heart ache. Now that Yang Ming directly smashed the windshield, Chen Xiaolong's heart was bleeding. My car, this is the car that I used to chase Chen Mengyan. However, Chen Xiaolong's words, Chen Xiaolong's car, he did not dare to scold his mother like he did to the taxi driver. He did not dare to provoke of the situation. But Yang Ming? The taxi driver was Sun Kuan. Yang Ming met the taxi driver when he was in high school. He sent Yang Ming and Zhao Ying home. He also sent Yang Ming and Chen Mengyan home. After that, Yang Ming had his own car, so he did not need to take Sun Kuan's car anymore. In addition, Yang Ming was getting busier and busier. He had no time to do other things, so he did not contact Sun Kuan for a long time. However, he did not expect to meet Sun Kuan here. Sun Kuan was obviously very surprised as well. He had a deep friendship with Yang Ming before, but they gradually drifted apart. He thought that it was because Yang Ming went to university, so he disdained to be with them. He did not take it too seriously. Occasionally, he would think of the past and feel a little emotional. At this time, he suddenly met Yang Ming again, and Yang Ming obviously came to help him. This made Sun Kuan very moved. It seemed that Yang Ming did not forget him. This kid is an idiot. There is a problem with his IQ. He is like his father. His family has some money, so he doesn't know how to show off. Yang Ming pointed at Chen Xiaolong and said to Sun Kuan. Heh. Sun Kuan couldn't help but laugh when he heard Yang Ming's words. He felt very comfortable when he heard Yang Ming scolding Chen Xiaolong. After all, he had been scolded by Chen Xiaolong for a while, so he had a stomach full of anger. When Chen Xiaolong heard Yang Ming calling him an idiot, although he was angry, he did not dare to say anything. Yang Ming dared to go against 7th grandfather Chen in front of all the guests of the Chen family village. Chen Xiaolong was not as ruthless as Yang Ming. Yang Ming, why did you smash my car? Chen Xiaolong asked while holding his breath. Oh, nothing. I want to do it. Yang Ming shrugged. You. Chen Xiaolong really felt like Sun Kuan at this moment. He dared to be angry but did not dare to say anything. It was really too cowardly. Didn't you say it? My car is better than yours, so I can hit your car and smash your car? Didn't you say this? Yang Ming patted the wrench in his hand and looked at the crowd with a smile. He said this, right? Everyone heard it, right? These onlookers were angry at Chen Xiaolong's behavior before, but they didn't dare to say anything. Now that a strong person suddenly appeared and extinguished Chen Xiaolong's anger, these people were naturally very happy and clapped their hands in their hearts. At this time, when they heard Yang Ming's question, although they were not willing to offend Chen Xiaolong, Yang Ming was stronger. Especially when they saw the big wrench in Yang Ming's hand, they could only agree and say, yes, he said it. Once someone spoke first, the others did not care. They all said, yes, that's right. He said that as long as the car is better than his, it doesn't matter even if his car is smashed. Chen Xiaolong's face turned green. He did not expect that the people who did not say anything and looked like they were watching the show would now support Yang Ming. However, Chen Xiaolong was not stupid. At this time, Yang Ming was strong. Of course, everyone supported Yang Ming. He did not want to cause public anger and be beaten up by a group of people. Well, even if I said this, where is your car? Do you have a car? Chen Xiaolong asked with a sullen face. Don't tell me that you have a bicycle. You will know soon whether I have one or not. Yang Ming said faintly, since you really want to know whether I have a car or not, then I will fulfill your wish. After that, Yang Ming turned and left, then walked to his car. The onlookers didn't think much of it. When they saw Yang Ming walking towards a BMW X5, they had a look of understanding on their faces. In their opinion, since Yang Ming dared to go against Chen Xiaolong, he must be more powerful than Chen Xiaolong. However, Chen Xiaolong's face was gloomy. He looked at Yang Ming in disbelief. He did not believe that Yang Ming had any car that was more high-end than his, so he asked like this before. But when he saw Yang Ming actually walking to a BMW X5, he suddenly had a bad feeling in his heart. As for Sun Quan, although he was a little surprised, it was not too much. He had already seen that Yang Ming was extraordinary. He would be successful in the future, so he did not have any special feelings about Yang Ming having his own car. Under Chen Xiaolong's disbelief, he still saw Yang Ming open the door of the BMW with the remote control. Chen Xiaolong's face became extremely ugly. Indeed, he said before that if the car was better than his, he could even smash his car. But that was only for Sun Quan. It was based on the premise that Sun Quan's car was worse than his car, so he dared to say such nonsense. Moreover, he did not think that anyone would stand up for Sun Quan at this time. After all, it was not related to them. Who would help Sun Quan and lead the trouble to themselves? However, he never dreamed that he would actually meet Yang Ming here so coincidentally, and Yang Ming really interfered. Originally, he just thought that Yang Ming had a conflict with him, so he took the opportunity to retaliate against him. So, he used words to pressure him and told him that he said that he could only smash the car if the car was better than his. He, Yang Ming, did not have a car, so he should leave as soon as possible. Therefore, he asked before in order to let this evil star get out of here quickly and not get involved here. However, he did not expect that Yang Ming actually drove a BMW X5. Although it was also a BMW, the difference between the two was too big. One was at the level of 300,000 yuan, and the other was at the level of 1 million yuan. Even people who did not understand cars could tell the difference between the two. Chapter 1582. Yang Ming started the car and drove straight to Chen Xiaolong's side. Then, he directly hit the other side of Chen Xiaolong's car. Initially, only one side was dented by Sun Quan's car. Now, the other side was also hit by Yang Ming. Yang Ming's car had been hit many times, so he didn't care too much. Moreover, Yang Ming just wanted to teach Chen Xiaolong a lesson. You. Yang Ming, you. Chen Xiaolong pointed at Yang Ming, who was sitting in the driver's seat. He said, you, several times, but he couldn't say why. In the past, he was traumatized by Yang Ming. Moreover, he was especially frightened by Yang Ming's fearless and unscrupulous look yesterday. Chen Xiaolong was sure that if he provoked Yang Ming now, he would definitely be beaten up. Therefore, although he was very angry at the moment, he had a feeling that he could only bite the bullet and swallow his anger. You hit Brother Kuan's car, and I hit your car. This way, we are even. Brother Kuan doesn't need you to compensate. You can repair your car yourself. Yang Ming glanced at Chen Xiaolong and said. Chen Xiaolong scolded Yang Ming's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart. However, he didn't dare to say anything on the surface. He could only stare at Yang Ming. He wanted to kill Yang Ming with his eyes. Sun Quan didn't expect Chen Xiaolong to repair his car. He couldn't afford to provoke such an arrogant and despotic person. Why couldn't he avoid him? Long before Yang Ming came, he had the idea of retreating. The car wasn't seriously damaged, but it didn't need to be repaired. It was just a piece of paint on the front. Therefore, when he heard Yang Ming say this, his heart was suddenly relieved. Brother Kuan, drive. Let's go. Don't waste time with him. Yang Ming said to Sun Quan. Okay. Sun Quan responded and didn't care about Chen Xiaolong. He jumped into the car and followed behind Yang Ming's car. They slowly drove away from the scene. Chen Xiaolong was unhappy. He looked at the two cars that were far away and spat on the ground. His plan to flirt with Chen Mengyan was ruined. The car was already in such a state. Who was he going to give it to? Even if he gave it away, he couldn't do it. Thinking that Yang Ming's father-in-law, Chen Fei, was the chief of the Songjiang police station, and that he was in the wrong in the first place, it would be useless to call the police. Chen Xiaolong had to admit that he was unlucky and jumped into the car. He was ready to go back to the 4S shop to get the car repaired. Chen Xiaolong reckoned that he was the unluckiest person. He had just picked up the car and had to go back to get it repaired. He hadn't even settled down yet, and such a thing had happened. He was really unlucky. This person bullies the weak and fears the strong. The onlookers saw that Chen Xiaolong was tricked by Yang Ming. He didn't dare to say a word and was ready to escape like a turtle. They all commented. Yeah, this kind of person is like this. I think that evil people need to be dealt with by evil people. You see that he was very arrogant. Now that a more powerful person came, this kid was scared. Another person in the crowd nodded and agreed. I thought that a taxi driver was easy to bully, but I didn't expect him to have a more powerful friend. The other people in the crowd also said, look, this kid is finished in an instant. Yeah. Another person also said, look at this kid's car. It's a BMW 3 Series. I know this car is only around 300,000. His X5 is more than 1 million. Of course, he is scared. Chen Xiaolong listened to the sarcastic words of the crowd outside the car window. A burst of anger surged in his heart. He opened the car door and shouted at the crowd who were making sarcastic remarks, look at your heads. Get the hell out of here. When the crowd saw that Chen Xiaolong was angry, they were stunned. TSK, what's there to be proud of? Why don't you show off in front of the kid just now? At this time, one of the people in the crowd said, you are just pretending to be a bird in front of us ordinary people. What kind of ability is that? You're right. Once someone took the lead, the others followed. We are just watching you make a fool of yourself. What's wrong with that? Do you want to beat people up? Let me tell you, we are not afraid of you. If you have the ability, then go ahead. Chen Xiaolong saw that everyone was unanimously pointing the spear at him. He glared at the crowd, but he didn't dare to do anything excessive. He got into the car and slammed the door. Then, he clenched his fist and slammed it on the steering wheel. Yang Ming, remember this. I will definitely teach you a lesson. Beep beep. Chen Xiaolong started the car and honked twice to disperse the onlookers. Then, he drove in the direction of the 4S store. Yang Ming parked the car in front of a street food stall seafood restaurant. Sun Quan also followed Yang Ming to stop the car. To be honest, Sun Quan's heart was very uneasy now that he met Yang Ming again. At this moment, Yang Ming was obviously not the poor student in the past. Although he felt that Yang Ming was still as kind and cheerful as before, and the way he treated Chen Xiaolong was the same as Yang Ming in the past, Sun Quan had a feeling of fear and trepidation. Brother Quan, I didn't expect to meet you here. Yang Ming got out of the car, locked the car, and said to Sun Quan behind him. Yang Ming. What are you doing now? Sun Kun looked at Yang Ming's BMW. He was very clear about Yang Ming's family background. He came from a worker's family. When he bought a laptop, he had to grit his teeth, but now, I made a small fortune. It's nothing. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. You didn't eat at noon, right? Let's go and eat something together. This. Sun Kun hesitated. After all, he hadn't seen Yang Ming for a long time. They were a little unfamiliar. Moreover, Yang Ming's current identity was obviously not on the same level as him. Brother Kun, this is not your character. Yang Ming seemed to see Sun Kun's concerns and said with a smile, Brother Kun, you weren't like this before. Okay. Then it's my treat. You helped me out today. I haven't thanked you yet. When Sun Kun heard Yang Ming say this, he no longer hesitated and nodded boldly. Don't. What help? That Chen Xiaolong had a grudge with me. Even if you didn't help, I would still stop the car and teach him a lesson. Yang Ming waved his hand and said, This kid bought a new car. I guess he wants to show it off in front of my girlfriend. He wants to flirt with my girlfriend. How can I let him stay? Your girlfriend. Sun Kun was stunned. He thought, this relationship is really complicated. But in that case, Chen Xiaolong really needs to be taught a lesson. Chen Mengyan. You have seen her before. Yang Ming said with a smile. Sun Kun had seen Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, and Zhao Ying, so he knew Yang Ming better. Oh, it's her. Sun Kun nodded. I remember. She's a very good girl. Let's go. It's still my treat. Yang Ming smiled and said, How am I helping you out? This time you have to repair your car yourself. I guess that kid definitely won't repair my car. It's good enough that he won't let me repair his car. Sun Kun smiled bitterly and shook his head. I can't afford to provoke this kind of person. Let's go in first and find a seat. I will call Chen Mengyan and ask them to come over. Yang Ming said. Okay. Sun Kun nodded and walked into the food stall with Yang Ming. Now he also saw that Yang Ming was still the same Yang Ming as before. He didn't change anything. After the two sat down in the food stall, Yang Ming called Zhang Bin. Zhang Bin, I'm at the Seaside Food Stall seafood restaurant on Hangqian Road. You can pick up Meng Yan and Jiyun and come here directly. Hangqian Road? Food stall? Zhang Bin was stunned. He thought, why did Yang Ming find a place so far away? It's a few kilometers away from the university. However, he still said, okay, I will pick up the two sisters-in-law, and then come over to find you. Yang Ming hung up the phone and sent a text message to Chen Mengyan, telling her that he wouldn't go to the university. Instead, he asked her and Lin Jiyun to come together in Zhang Bin's car. After doing all this, Yang Ming put down the phone and looked up at Sun Kun. Brother Kun, how have you been? I'm just living casually. Sun Kun smiled bitterly. I'm a taxi driver. What else can I do? Chapter 1583. Driving a taxi is also good. Isn't the road construction in our city this year? Aren't many people taking taxis when they travel? Yang Ming smiled. That's true, but it may be my bad luck to meet such a rental company. The fee is too high. I can't afford it. Sun Kun smiled bitterly. My son is going to primary school in the second half of this year. I haven't prepared the school selection fee yet. The fee is high? Isn't your car a buyout? Yang Ming was a bit puzzled. It's a buyout. My company's fee is high. My contract expires this year, but the rental company still won't let me go. I want to transfer to another company, but they won't give me a certificate. They forced me to renew the contract. Sun Kun smiled bitterly. There are a lot of unreasonable deposits in the contract. But for a vulnerable group like us, there is really no way. The owner of the rental company is rich and powerful. I can't afford to offend him. Won't let you go when the contract expires? Yang Ming frowned. Which rental company are you from? Dade Elegant Company, said Sun Kun. I haven't heard of it. Yang Ming shook his head. You're not in this industry. You definitely don't know. Sun Kun smiled and said, it's nothing. I can gather enough money, but I don't have the money for my child's school. I'll let him go to the primary school in the school district first. When I have money in the future, I'll transfer to another school. Why won't your company let you go? Did you breach the contract before? Yang Ming nodded and asked. That's not true. It's just that the rental company unilaterally won't let me go. If the person leaves, who will he earn money from? Sun Kun said, there are many people in the company who have the same experience as me. But those who have connections can leave as long as they ask someone to talk to the boss. In that case, I'll accompany you to have a look in the afternoon. Yang Ming thought about it and said. This matter was Sun Kun's. If it were another person, Yang Ming would definitely not care. There were unspoken rules in every industry. Yang Ming was not a hero. If it did not harm the interests of others, Yang Ming would not interfere. Just like some of Bao Sanli's previous industries were also gray areas. Yang Ming just let him gradually end it. He did not force him to do anything. You? Sun Kun was stunned at first, then he immediately realized that the current Yang Ming was different from the past. Maybe he could really solve the problem, so he said, that's great. If you can really let me transfer to another company, I'm willing to spend some money. Let's go take a look first. Yang Ming waved his hand. Sun Kun nodded. Although he felt that Yang Ming was not the same as before, Yang Ming didn't understand the taxi industry after all. He wasn't sure if he could help. However, Yang Ming's enthusiasm made Sun Kun very moved. Yang Ming and Sun Kun ordered the dishes first and waited for Zhang Bin to come over. Not long after, Zhang Bin, Zhao Sisi, Chen Mengyan, and Lin Jiyun walked into the food stall. Sun Kun saw Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun walking into the food stall together while talking and laughing. He was suddenly stunned. If he remembered correctly, these two women were related to Yang Ming, and they actually walked together at the same time. They even talked and laughed. This made Sun Kun very surprised. Could it be that one of them had given up, and then the two of them became friends? Bro, what happened to your car? How did you knock off such a big piece of paint? As soon as Zhang Bin entered the door, he saw Yang Ming and shouted, there is a taxi next to you. A piece of paint was also knocked off. Did you crash into each other? Brother Kun. Chen Mengyan and Lin Jiyun had seen Sun Kun together with Yang Ming before. When they saw Sun Kun here, they were a little surprised and greeted him. Chen Mengyan. Lin. Sun Kun knew Chen Mengyan, but he couldn't call out Lin Jiyun's name. Yang Ming just happened to ride in Sun Kun's car with Lin Jiyun once. They didn't have much interaction. Even the main storyline of So Pure didn't mention it, so it was normal that Sun Kun couldn't call out Lin Jiyun's name. Lin Jiyun, my girlfriend. Yang Ming introduced her to Sun Kun. Girlfriend? Sun Kun widened his eyes and looked at Chen Mengyan strangely. When he saw that Chen Mengyan didn't have any strange expression on her face, he was even more baffled. This Yang Ming, does he really have two girlfriends, and these two girlfriends can coexist peacefully with each other? Isn't this too magical? Brother Kun. Lin Jiyun also nodded to Sun Kun in a friendly manner. Oh. Hello, Lin Jiyun. Although Sun Kun had doubts in his heart, he couldn't ask so much. He could only nod to Lin Jiyun with doubts. Zhang Bin, my good brother. Yang Ming pulled Zhang Bin over and patted his shoulder. He said to Sun Kun, I mentioned him to you before, but we didn't have the chance to get together. Brother Kun, I heard bro mention you. When he didn't have a car, he often came to my house in your car. Zhang Bin said with a smile, "This is my girlfriend, Zhao Cece." Brother Kuan. Zhao Cece also smiled and nodded to Sun Kuan. After a few people sat down, the dishes were almost served. Yang Ming didn't hold back. He first picked up a crab and ate it. Then, everyone started to eat. Unknowingly, Yang Ming had become the leader of this banquet. Everyone looked at Yang Ming's actions. This made Yang Ming somewhat helpless, but there was no way. With the change of identity and status, it was impossible to get back the feelings of the past. Although Sun Kuan had somewhat adapted, he was still not as open and unrestrained as before. Because there was still something in the afternoon, everyone didn't drink. After the meal, Yang Ming asked Zhang Bin to send Shen Mengyan and others back to school. He accompanied Sun Kuan to his rental company to see if he could solve the problem. "Let's go, Brother Kuan. You lead the way in front, and I will follow behind," Yang Ming said to Sun Kuan when they were out of the food stall. "Let's go." If Sun Kuan was alone, he would never go to the company again. It was because he was very clear about what kind of people the company's boss invited. Last time, he clearly saw one of his peers being beaten out of the door by the people invited by the boss. It could be said that these people were no different from hooligans. They were rude and unreasonable. Sun Kuan was frightened by them. If it weren't for Yang Ming, he wouldn't dare to mention the matter of transferring to another company. Sun Kuan led the way in front, and Yang Ming followed behind. Soon, they came to a 3-story building with a slightly cheaper location. There was a sign hanging on it. It said, Songjiang City Dade Elegant Taxi Company, Limited. Sun Kuan parked the car in front of the building. Yang Ming also parked the car next to him. "Yang Ming, it's here," Sun Kuan said to Yang Ming, who got off the car. "After a while, when you go in, don't be impulsive. The people here are not good people. These people are similar to the underworld. There are a lot of thugs. Let's not have a head-on conflict with them." Thugs? Yang Ming looked at the 3-story building and sneered in his heart. If it was the previous Yang Ming who was a little punk, he might be scared. But now, Yang Ming was a person who could even destroy the Golden Hawk Gang's headquarters. Would he care about these small characters? "Yeah, you can take a look in a while. If you can't find any connections, then forget it. I can also make do with driving here. It's just that the cost is higher and the income is less, but it's not a problem in terms of living," said Sun Kuan. Yang Ming knew Sun Kuan's family situation. His wife divorced him, and he was left to raise the child alone. It was really not easy. This was the main reason why Yang Ming planned to help him. "Let's go in and take a look." Yang Ming nodded and signaled Sun Kuan to lead the way in front. Sun Kuan entered the company with ease. The guard on duty in the reception room at the door glanced at him. When he found that it was Sun Kuan, he lowered his head and ignored him. Yang Ming followed Sun Kuan to the second floor and came to the door of a room with a "Business Advisory" sign. Sun Kuan knocked on the door. "The door is not locked. Come in by yourself." There was an impatient male voice inside. Sun Kuan was fine. Apparently, he was used to it. Yang Ming frowned. "This attitude is too bad. I heard that the taxi company served the taxi drivers. Now it seems that there are some black sheep among them." Chapter 1584. Sun Kuan pushed the door open and walked in with Yang Ming. In the office, a bald man put his legs on the desk with a cigarette in his mouth. He was playing Do Diju on the computer. When he heard someone come in, he didn't raise his head and asked, "Who is it?" "What's the matter?" "Brother Zhao, it's me, Sun Kuan." Sun Kuan quickly replied respectfully. "Sun Kuan?" The bald man looked up at Sun Kuan and said impatiently, "What are you doing here? Are you here to renew the contract?" "No. I want to ask about transferring companies." Sun Quan said quickly. What did you say? The bald man raised his eyebrows and put down the mouse in his hand. He raised his head with an evil face. You tell me again. What are you doing? I said that I want to transfer companies. My contract here has expired. Sun Quan said carefully. If he didn't come with Yang Ming, he would definitely retreat now. Transfer companies? Transfer your motherfucker. Didn't I tell you that you can't transfer? Do you not want to work in the taxi industry anymore? The bald man slammed the table and then wiped his nose with his hand. Big Snot Zhao? Yang Ming thought that this bald man surnamed Zhao was familiar, but after thinking about it, he couldn't remember where he had seen him. However, looking at his habitual action of wiping his nose, Yang Ming suddenly remembered who this person was. Isn't this person one of my underlings who used to follow me in junior high school, Zhao Debao, nicknamed Big Snot Zhao? Zhao Debao was roaring when he suddenly heard someone call his nickname. He was stunned. Since he became famous and became a manager of the taxi company, very few people called his nickname Big Snot Zhao. They all called him Brother Zhao or Manager Zhao. Zhao Debao was a little surprised when he was suddenly called by a nickname. He didn't pay attention to the people around Sun Quan before. This time, he shifted his gaze to Yang Ming and carefully sized him up. Eh? Zhao Debao exclaimed in surprise. He removed his leg from the table and stood up. He walked in front of Yang Ming and looked carefully. He immediately recognized Yang Ming and pointed in front of Yang Ming. Brother Yang? Big Snot Zhao, you recognize me? You seem to be doing well. Yang Ming looked at Zhao Debao with a smile that was not a smile. If it wasn't for the fact that he and Zhao Debao were old friends, how could Yang Ming let him live after Zhao Debao's screams? He would have sent him flying with a slap. It's all right. Zhao Debao puffed out his chest and felt a little proud. Especially in front of his former boss, he felt that his vanity was unprecedentedly satisfied. Brother Yang, are you also here to inquire about the taxi business? You can rest assured that I will definitely take care of you in my company. When Sun Quan saw that Yang Ming actually knew Zhao Debao, he was delighted. Originally, he thought that today's matter was hopeless, but he didn't expect an unexpected turn of events. Seeing that Yang Ming and Zhao Debao were familiar with each other, Sun Quan felt that he should be able to succeed today. Yang Ming smiled and shook his head. I'm not a taxi driver. I'm accompanying him. As Yang Ming spoke, he pointed at Sun Quan with his finger. Accompanying him? Sun Quan? Zhao Debao glanced at Sun Quan, and his face became a little gloomy. Brother Yang, why are you accompanying him? Seeing Zhao Debao's face, Yang Ming knew that Zhao Debao was used to being domineering and had forgotten that he was his former boss. Since we are on the same side, then it's easy. Big Snot Zhao, help him to issue a certificate and let him transfer out. Yang Ming glanced at Sun Quan and said to Zhao Debao. Transfer out? That's impossible. Zhao Debao immediately rejected Yang Ming's proposal. Zhao Debao's ruthlessness surprised Yang Ming. Originally, Yang Ming thought that Zhao Debao might use a bureaucratic tone, but he would definitely be more tactful. He didn't expect this kid to be so straightforward. As for Sun Quan, he was also stunned. He saw that Yang Ming and Zhao Debao were so familiar. Why didn't Zhao Debao give him any face? Big Snot Zhao, what do you mean? Yang Ming looked at Zhao Debao coldly. You don't even give me face? Don't forget who was the one who stood up for you when you were beaten up in the past. Hee hee, Yang Ming, you said it too. That was in the past. Zhao Debao sneered and said, I gave you face. You called me Big Snot Zhao, and I responded. This nickname, can anyone call me that now? I gave you face and called you Brother Yang. If I don't give you face, you are nothing. Do you think it's still the same as before? Do you think you are still the boss? Really? Do you really think so? Yang Ming looked at Zhao Debao with a smile and asked. I haven't been the boss for many years. I don't like the cold bedside. Zhao Debao pinched his nose and sang. He even winked at Yang Ming with a mocking expression. Yang Ming, Boss Yang, you don't know what my identity is now, right? You don't know who I am with, right? When Sun Kun heard Zhao Debao sing and mocking Yang Ming, he knew that things were not going well. Now it seemed that there was no hope for him to transfer to another company. This Zhao Debao didn't give Yang Ming any face and even mocked Yang Ming. Listening to Zhao Debao singing, Yang Ming wasn't angry but laughed. Why is this scene so familiar? It seems that I have seen it a long time ago. Since Zhao Debao didn't care about the old relationship, then Yang Ming didn't need to give face to Zhao Debao. He didn't need to care about the previous relationship. This Zhao Debao was so ignorant. Yang Ming couldn't do anything about it. He could only let him suffer a little. Yang Ming reached out and grabbed Zhao Debao's neck. He lifted him up. Your voice is really not good. You sang this song very badly. Cough cough. Let me go. Zhao Debao didn't expect Yang Ming to have so much strength. As a matter of fact, Zhao Debao was quite strong, but he was actually lifted up by Yang Ming with one arm. You let me go first. Are you going to transfer or not? Yang Ming asked coldly. Let me go first. Everything can be discussed. Zhao Debao was almost suffocated by Yang Ming's grip. He said with a red face. Yang Ming, don't be impulsive. Sun Kun saw that Zhao Debao's face turned purple. He was shocked when he saw that Zhao Debao was about to suffocate. He was afraid that Yang Ming would do something. It wouldn't be good if someone died, so he quickly advised, Yang Ming, why don't you let him go first? Peng, Yang Ming threw Zhao Debao to the ground. I will give Brother Kun face and let you go this time. Although I'm not your boss now, I can still fix you. Originally, Zhao Debao was still a little afraid of Yang Ming, but when he heard Yang Ming call Sun Kun, Brother Kun, he was relieved. Zhao Debao was very clear about Sun Kun's background. Since Yang Ming could call Sun Kun, Brother Kun, he was definitely not a powerful person invited by Sun Kun. He was definitely just an ordinary person. Yang Ming, you're good. You dare to touch me. Do you know the consequences? Zhao Debao suddenly stood up again. He pressed the intercom system on the table and shouted, Liang, someone is causing trouble. Quickly bring people over. After that, Zhao Debao looked at Yang Ming proudly. Yang Ming, if you kneel down and kowtow to me 3 times, I will let you go this time. Otherwise, you can see whose territory this is. I will break your legs. It seems that you still don't want to give up. Yang Ming sighed. I took into account our past relationship, so I didn't do anything ruthless to you. But now it seems that you still have some awareness. You still dare to call people over. Well, if that's the case, you can do whatever you want. If Yang Ming wanted to stop Zhao Debao from calling people, he could not let him touch the intercom system. However, Yang Ming was not afraid of Zhao Debao calling people over. Hey! Boss Yang, Crazy Yang, do you think that you are still the king of fighting? Can you deal with a group of people with weapons by yourself? Zhao Debao saw that Yang Ming was so calm and suddenly mocked him. Yang Ming shrugged and did not take Zhao Debao's words to heart. Chapter 1585. Yang Ming. Why are you so impulsive? AI. When Sun Kun heard that Zhao Debao called people, he was a little anxious. He had seen the people that Zhao Debao mentioned. Those people were desperados. Some of them even had tattoos on their bodies. When these people came, how could he and Yang Ming be opponents? Even if Yang Ming was good at fighting, what Zhao Debao said was very reasonable. Can you deal with a large group of people alone? Moreover, they are holding weapons. Therefore, Sun Kun was a little scared. He quickly persuaded Yang Ming, let's go. We won't mention about transferring companies in the future. As Sun Quan spoke, he turned to Zhao Debao and said, Brother Zhao, I won't transfer companies. I will leave now. You don't need to call people, won't transfer companies? Zhao Debao snorted. Do you think that if you don't transfer companies today, this matter will be over? Let me tell you. If you want to leave, it won't be so easy. You beat me up like this. How can I not treat my former boss well? Don't you think so, Boss Yang Ming? Brother Kuan, don't talk nonsense with him. If he wants to find people, let him find people. Yang Ming shrugged. He didn't take Zhao Debao's threat to heart. Instead, he seemed very relaxed. Sun Quan saw that Yang Ming was still full of confidence. He couldn't help but sigh. Yang Ming is really a newborn calf that is not afraid of tigers. Although Yang Ming may be very rich now and can suppress Chen Xiaolong, what can he do in the face of this group of vicious villains? Hee, Boss Yang, since you're not going to kneel and kowtow, then don't blame me for not giving you face. Zhao Debao snorted coldly, don't be too proud now. You'll feel good later. Yang Ming smiled slightly and didn't answer Zhao Debao's words. There was no point in saying anything now. Yang Ming was too lazy to explain. At this moment, the office door was pushed open with a bang. 5 young men rushed in. Some had dyed their hair, some wore big earrings, and some had tattoos on their faces. Everyone was holding an iron rod in their hands. The leader shouted as soon as he entered, Big Snot Zhao, what's going on? Who's causing trouble here? Liang, you're finally here. That's great. When Zhao Debao saw that his backer was here, his face was immediately filled with joy. He pointed at Yang Ming and said, Liang, look, we have an old acquaintance here. Do you still remember? Liang looked in the direction Zhao Debao was pointing at and saw Yang Ming standing there with a smile on his face. He was stunned and his expression turned ugly. He brought Sun Quan to me to transfer companies. Fuck, does he think that he's still the boss now? I gave him face and told him to leave quickly, but he actually dared to make a move on me. Zhao Debao didn't see Liang's expression and kept saying, then I can't spoil him anymore. He doesn't even look at what era it is now. Does he think he's still in school? Does he think he's some kind of boss? We're all his little brothers. I'll give him a song. I haven't been a big brother for many years. I don't like the cold edge of the bed. When Zhao Debao reached the part where he was excited, he started singing again. You. Liang was so angry that he pointed at Zhao Debao that he couldn't say anything. His entire body was trembling as he complained in his heart. You blind man with eyes on your butt, what kind of person did you provoke? You want to die, but I don't want to die. Seeing that Zhao Debao was going to continue singing, Liang became anxious. He waved his hand and shouted to the people behind him, go, beat him up. Beat him to death. Fuck, I'm so angry. Yes sir. 3 of the 4 subordinates, upon hearing Liang's orders, swung their arms and were about to attack Yang Ming. Only one of them shouted and rushed towards Zhao Debao. He raised his iron rod and swung it, causing Zhao Debao's face to be covered in blood as he fell to the ground. The 3 subordinates behind him, who were about to attack Yang Ming, were dumbfounded when they saw that subordinate's actions. They forgot to make a move and looked at the subordinate who hit Zhao Debao in disbelief. What are the 3 of you standing there for? Hurry up and attack. Liang turned around and saw that his other 3 subordinates were standing there in a daze. He immediately became angry and shouted at them. Go. Where are we going? The 3 subordinates were also confused. Liang, who do you want us to hit? You can hit whoever Huang Mao hits. Don't tell me you can hit Brother Yang. Of course, you can hit that bastard Big Snot Zhao. Liang roared. Yes. Although the 3 subordinates didn't know why Liang suddenly asked them to beat Zhao Debao, weren't these people called by Zhao Debao to beat up the troublemaker? But since Huang Mao had already made a move, then it must be right. This Huang Mao was the first to follow Yang. He was Liang's confidant. It was definitely right to follow him. Therefore, the three of them didn't ask more. They picked up the rod and surrounded Zhao Debao. Zhao Debao was suddenly shocked. He didn't expect that Liang would ask his subordinates to beat him as soon as he came in. What is going on? Is this Yang Ming still worthy of Liang's respect? Could it be that Brother Liang was a sentimental person? It doesn't seem like it. Previously, there was also a person who used to be Brother Liang's acquaintance. He came to Brother Liang to plead for mercy regarding the expiration of the taxi contract. In the end, Brother Liang found someone to beat him up and scare him out. What was going on today? Before Zhao Debao could figure out what was going on, the stick fell down and hit him. Ao! Zhao Debao suddenly screamed in pain. These people were all professional thugs. They all knew how to beat people without killing them. Therefore, although Zhao Debao was in so much pain, there was not a single fatal wound, and he did not faint. He just wailed and howled in pain. Sun Quan was also stunned by the change in front of him. What is going on? The people that Zhao Debao found didn't come to beat me and Yang Ming. Instead, they beat Zhao Debao up. Why is this so weird? On the other hand, Yang Ming also had a feeling of not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Originally, he thought that when the people called by Zhao Debao arrived, he would inevitably make a move. However, when the people called by Zhao Debao arrived, Yang Ming realized that the person he called was also an acquaintance. Brother Yang, I'm really sorry. This big-nosed Zhao's snot got into his eyes. He didn't know that Brother Yang was here. I have already taught him a lesson. Please don't be angry, Brother Yang. Liang's heart was very nervous now. He really had the impulse to beat big-nosed Zhao to death. You could have provoked anyone, but you provoked such a big shot. Moreover, you knew that he was Brother Yang, but you still dared to do this. Aren't you courting death? You even sang, I haven't been a big brother for many years. What do you mean? Aren't you being sarcastic? This Liang was the little punk Zhang Yuliang that Yang Ming met at the school gate. The previous Huang Mao was the follower behind Zhang Yuliang, Huang Mao. These two people were old acquaintances with Yang Ming. Zhang Yuliang mingled outside for a while. Suddenly, a distant relative who opened a taxi company found him and asked him to bring a few brothers to control the situation. So, Zhang Yuliang became the deputy manager of the taxi company. With Zhang Yuliang's punk style, he also controlled a lot of taxi drivers. This made the relative very satisfied. The bonus given to Zhang Yuliang was never less. This made Zhang Yuliang very proud. However, the more proud one was, the easier it was to have a tragedy. This sentence was simply the truth. Extreme joy begets sorrow. What is extreme joy begets sorrow? Zhang Yuliang felt that he was now. Is this Brother Yang an ordinary person? When I was a little punk, I was beaten up by him. Later, I heard that the relationship between Yang Ming and Bao Sanli was very good. Who is Bao Sanli? Even my distant relative who is the manager of the taxi company can't find a way to curry favor with him. I can't afford to offend him. However, Zhang Yuliang suddenly thought, didn't I also sing, I haven't been a big brother for many years, to Yang Ming? This big snot Zhao actually repeated the same mistake. It seems that this matter can't be entirely blamed on big snot Zhao. Didn't I not know how powerful Yang Ming was at the beginning? This big snot Zhao is quite like you, right? I remember that when you troubled me, you also sang, Big Brother, to me? Yang Ming narrowed his eyes and looked at Zhang Yuliang with a smile. Chapter 1586. Brother Yang, I have already repented. Zhang Yuliang didn't expect Yang Ming to remember the past. He begged Yang Ming with a bitter face, Brother Yang, this is all because Zhao Debao didn't know what to do. It has nothing to do with me. I also taught him a lesson. Please don't vent your anger on me. Yang Ming looked at Zhang Yuliang's expression and found it funny. I didn't want to vent my anger on anyone. Previously, I thought about my relationship with Big Snot Zhao. I tolerated his rude remarks several times, but Big Snot Zhao didn't seem to appreciate it. Brother Yang, this. Zhang Yuliang had a bitter face, but he couldn't explain anything. It's nothing. I just want my friend to transfer to another company. I don't want to trouble you. Yang Ming said faintly, but his words revealed an unquestionable majesty. Zhang Yuliang was about to open his mouth to agree, but the office door was pushed open again. Before he saw the person, the voice had already arrived. This was a lazy but very arrogant male voice. Who wants to transfer to another company? Are you tired of living? Have you forgotten what happened to Wang Yiding before? Wang Yiding was the taxi driver that Sun Kuan mentioned. He wanted to transfer to another company and had a conflict with Big Snot Zhao. As a result, he was beaten half to death. These words made Yang Ming, Sun Kuan, and Zhang Yuliang all stunned. Yang Ming was surprised. Who is the person who spoke? Is there a third party in this taxi company? Sun Kuan was surprised. Why did General Manager Zhang Liebao, who rarely came to the company, come today? Zhang Yuliang complained in his heart. He thought, Yang Ming, this great god, was just appeased by me. Why are you provoking him again? The person who came in was the general manager of Dade Elegant Taxi Company, Zhang Yuliang's distant relative, Zhang Liebao. After drinking at noon today, he had nothing to do and came to the company to take a walk around. Unexpectedly, when he walked to the door of the consulting office, he heard someone inside saying that they wanted to change companies and even wanted to cause trouble. He immediately became angry. Hadn't Wang Yiding's incident taught these taxi drivers a lesson? How could someone dare to talk about changing companies? Thus, Zhang Liebao felt a surge of anger in his heart. He thought to himself, these little drivers are prickly again? Fine, since you're not being honest, then I'll take out another one and let you know how powerful I am. Thinking of this, Zhang Liebao pushed the door and walked into the consultation office, but he saw Zhang Yuliang was also inside. He was stunned for a moment, and then he thought, this Zhang Yuliang came quickly enough. Then it's easier to handle. There's no need to say anything, just start the fight. Zhang Yuliang, who was the one who said he wanted to transfer to another company. Don't waste time with him. Beat him up for me. Beat him to death. I want others to see what the consequences of transferring to another company are. Zhang Liebao shouted with the smell of alcohol. Yang Ming looked at the middle-aged man who had just walked in with the smell of alcohol. He didn't know where this person came from and what he did. What are you doing? You're asking me? You're asking me what I do? When Zhang Liebao saw that Yang Ming actually didn't recognize him, he was immediately angry. He slapped Yang Ming and was ready to teach Yang Ming a lesson. I'll let you know what I do. Pa, a crisp sound, but it wasn't a slap on Yang Ming's face, but Zhang Liebao's hand was caught by Yang Ming. With a little force, Zhang Liebao's wrist was dislocated. Then Yang Ming waved his hand and slapped Zhang Liebao's face. He directly gave him a red five-finger mountain. Zhang Liebao didn't expect Yang Ming to be so fast. He was a little stunned. After a while, he felt the pain on his hand and face. He howled, "You dare to hit me? Do you know who I am?" Oh. When Yang Ming heard Zhang Liebao's question, he looked at Zhang Liebao as if he was looking at a fool. I asked you what you do before, but you didn't answer. Now you ask me who you are. Are you stupid? When Sun Kuan saw Yang Ming hit Zhang Liebao, his heart suddenly trembled. He secretly complained. He thought, I'm afraid that the matter of transferring to another company today is really ruined. Previously, Zhang Yuliang's defection made the whole thing turn around. Sun Kuan's heart was lit with hope. He didn't know when Yang Ming actually had a friendship with Zhang Yuliang. This matter would definitely be easy to handle. But what he didn't expect was that Zhang Liabao suddenly appeared and interfered, making things complicated again. President Zhang, don't be angry. Yang Ming doesn't know your identity. Sun Kun was scared and quickly explained to Zhang Liabao, he's not from the taxi company. He's my friend. Then, Sun Kun said to Yang Ming, this is the general manager of our taxi company, President Zhang. President Zhang? Yang Ming looked at Zhang Liabao and smiled. Previously, I was afraid that Zhang Yuliang couldn't make the decision. Since you are here, then it's good that you are here. Transfer Brother Kun to another company. Just one word, is it okay or not? If Yang Ming was so arrogant before he was drunk, Zhang Liabao would think if Yang Ming had any backing. But now, he was drunk. How could he think so much? Moreover, when he heard Yang Ming call Sun Kun as Brother Kun, he had the same thought as Zhao Debao. He thought that since Yang Ming called a taxi driver as Brother Kun, then his identity must not be high. He was probably on the same level, but he was more ruthless in fighting. I don't have to be afraid. Thinking of this, Zhang Liabao endured the pain in his wrist. He pointed at Yang Ming and said to Zhang Yuliang, kill him for me. This little brat dared to hit me. I want to let him know what kind of person I, Zhang Liabao, am. Zhang Yuliang secretly complained in his heart. He thought, my distant relative, Zhang Liabao, has offended Yang Ming. What should I do? He quickly said, Fourth Master, this is Yang Ming. When I was in school, I used to follow him. Zhang Yuliang wanted to explain Yang Ming's identity, but before he could finish, Zhang Liabao waved his hand and interrupted him. School? Zhang Yuliang, you are quite nostalgic, aren't you? It was 800 years ago. How can you still remember? Don't forget who you are working for now. If you want to care about brotherhood, then you don't have to work here for me from today onwards. Zhang Liabao was angry in his heart. He thought, now this Yang Ming beat me up. Even if this Yang Ming and Zhang Yuliang have a good relationship, it is useless. If I don't cut this Yang Ming today and teach him a lesson, my prestige in this taxi company will be completely gone. Who can I scare in the future? Fourth Master, please listen to what I have to say first. Zhang Yuliang said anxiously. What are you talking about? Stop talking. Hurry up and do it. Zhang Liabao ordered Zhang Yuliang, do you not want to work anymore? Fourth Master, I'm begging you, please listen to what I have to say first. Zhang Yuliang was about to cry. He saw Yang Ming sneering at the side. Zhang Yuliang almost sat on the ground. What do you want to say to me? Hurry up and say it. Just say it. Zhang Liabao saw that Zhang Yuliang was unwilling to let it go. Although he was somewhat unhappy, he thought that Zhang Yuliang had done his best to help him. So, he snorted and said impatiently, I will give you 1 minute. Hurry up and beat him up when you are done. If you want to plead for this kid, I think you should just forget about it. Even if the King of Heaven comes today, I will make this kid a disabled person. Fourth Master, Brother Yang is now Brother Bao and Brother Ho's buddy. Zhang Yuliang was afraid that Zhang Liabao would interrupt him again. He didn't dare to talk more nonsense and quickly said the main point. Brother Bao? Brother Ho? Which Brother Bao or Brother Ho? Zhang Liabao frowned. Leopard or monkey? Are you opening a zoo? When Zhang Yuliang heard Zhang Liabao's words, he had the thought of running away. He thought, you dare to insult Bao Sanli and Ho Zhenhan. Do you still want to stay in Songjiang? It is Bao Sanli, Brother Bao, and Ho Zhenhan, Brother Ho. Zhang Yuliang explained with a bitter face. Chapter 1587. This Zhang Liabao usually treated Zhang Yuliang well, so Zhang Yuliang still explained patiently. If it were someone else, Zhang Yuliang would have already ignored him. Bao Sanli. Ho Zhenhan. Zhang Liabao repeated these two names. His face suddenly became pale, and he sobered up. Liangzi, what did you say? Say it again. He is a person around Brother Bao. Yeah. Zhang Yuliang smiled bitterly and nodded. Fourth master, you bastard, why didn't you say so earlier? Zhang Liabao's heart twitched, and he almost rolled his eyes. Such a big thing. Why didn't you report it to me? Zhang Liabao usually didn't have a chance to have a relationship with Bao Sanli. Today, he offended Bao Sanli's people. How could he not be angry? This was originally a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to please others, but he missed it. Not only that, it would be good if he didn't create a bad impression on others, let alone leaving a good impression. Fourth master, I wanted to say it before, but you didn't let me say it. Zhang Yuliang smiled bitterly. I just said it halfway, and you interrupted me, you. Zhang Liabao was suddenly speechless. He did just interrupt Zhang Yuliang. However, he still said, such a big thing, even if I don't let you say it, you have to say it. Didn't I say it? Zhang Yuliang said in his heart, if you weren't so anxious, would this matter become like this? I have already appeased Yang Ming here. You came in and stirred things up. Things are out of control again. This. Zhang Liabao blamed himself in his heart. Drinking really messes things up. If he didn't drink today, he wouldn't be so impulsive. At least, he should think carefully about Zhang Yuliang's previous reminder. Now, he drank too much, and his brain wasn't bright. He turned a deaf ear to Zhang Yuliang's previous words, which led to the current consequences. Sun Quan's face also changed. He had also heard of the names of Bao Sanli and Hou Zhenhan. After all, these two people were too famous in Songjiang. Sun Quan didn't expect Yang Ming to have a relationship with Bao Sanli. Things had taken a turn for the worse again. Originally, Sun Quan thought that after Zhang Liabao came to interfere, not only would his transfer to another company failed, but today's matter would not end. However, the sentence of Zhang Yuliang pointed out Yang Ming's social relationship, which made the originally angry Zhang Liabao instantly turn pale. Sun Quan saw this kind of emotional change. Sun Quan saw this kind's emotional change. This was a turn of things. Today's matter was really full of twists and turns, but now it seemed that the result was still good. It was really training people's psychological endurance. Yang. Mr. Yang, right? Before this, I didn't figure out the situation. You see, I drank too much. Zhang Liabao looked at Yang Ming with surprise and said carefully, this drinking messes things up. Previously, didn't you say that even if the King of Heaven came, you would beat me until I was disabled? Yang Ming looked at Zhang Liabao and asked. That. If the King of Heaven came, I would beat him. If the King of Heaven didn't come, I wouldn't beat him. The King of Heaven didn't come. Zhang Liabao explained with a flash of inspiration. Pfft. When Yang Ming heard Zhang Liabao's words, he almost burst out laughing. There is such a shameless person. He can even explain it like this. He is really good. If the King of Heaven came, I would beat you. If the King of Heaven didn't come, I would beat him. The King of Heaven doesn't exist. Of course, he can't come, so I definitely can't beat you. Seeing Yang Ming laugh, Zhang Liabao saw that there seemed to be a way and quickly continued to explain. So, since the King of Heaven doesn't exist, my previous words are nonsense. Zhang Yuliang, you hurry up. What are you looking at? Go. Go what? Zhang Yuliang was shocked. Could it be that his fourth master had lost his mind? Why did he still want him to go in such a situation? Come up and beat me. Didn't you hear it? Zhang Liabao said anxiously. This. Zhang Yuliang was immediately dumbfounded. He didn't expect fourth master to mean this. For Zhang Liabao's explanation and approach, Yang Ming really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Originally, He wanted to teach this guy a lesson, but his current performance really made Yang Ming unable to do it. For this kind of villain, although Yang Ming didn't like it, their style and behavior were indeed the secret to survival in society. They could repeatedly turn danger into safety. As long as they were shameless, there was nothing that couldn't be done. Hurry up. Zhang Liebao saw that Zhang Yuliang was dumbfounded and didn't make a move. He immediately became anxious and hurried. Yes. Zhang Yuliang had no choice but to nod. He raised his hand and prepared to slap Zhang Liebao. However, when his hand reached the side of Zhang Liebao's face, he couldn't do it. After all, this was his elder, and also the company's leader. How could Zhang Yuliang hit him? What are you waiting for? Hurry up and hit. Zhang Liebao saw that Zhang Yuliang's hand was hanging there, and he couldn't help but yell angrily. He now hoped that Yang Ming would quickly calm down. Otherwise, if Yang Ming went back and didn't forgive him, he wouldn't be able to survive in Songjiang. This taxi company probably wouldn't be able to continue operating. Oh, yes. Zhang Yuliang was helpless and could only slap him. Zhang Liebao was afraid that Zhang Yuliang would retreat again, so he quickly put his big face in the direction of Zhang Yuliang's hand. This time, there was finally a "pa" sound. Zhang Yuliang slapped Zhang Liebao's face. This kind of behavior of giving face for others to slap really made Yang Ming completely speechless. It's too badass. It's really badass to the extreme. Why are you so weak? It's like being stared by a mosquito. Zhang Liebao touched his face that was already a little red. He said with some dissatisfaction, again, use more strength. Hit me as hard as you can. Oh. Zhang Yuliang was stunned, then nodded. He couldn't help it. He had to lift his arm again and slap over. This time, Zhang Yuliang also went all out and added some strength to his hand. Pa! With a sound, a slap was slapped on Zhang Liebao's face again. Zhang Liebao was suddenly seeing stars. He was dizzy and his ears were buzzing. No, use more strength. It's not enough. Zhang Liebao ordered Zhang Yuliang in a daze. Okay. Zhang Yuliang gritted his teeth and swung his arm. This time, he used 100% of his strength and slapped Zhang Liebao's face. It immediately turned into a loud bang sound. Blood overflowed from the corner of Zhang Liebao's mouth. Zhang Liebao's entire cheek was swollen. He looked at Yang Ming pitifully. Seeing that Yang Ming still didn't speak, Zhang Liebao said to Zhang Yuliang, "This side, change my face and continue." As Zhang Liebao spoke, he turned the other half of his face to Zhang Yuliang. Zhang Yuliang was about to lift his arm again to slap Zhang Liebao, but Yang Ming frowned and stopped him. Okay, that's enough. Zhang Liebao didn't understand what Yang Ming meant. Was he satisfied or dissatisfied? He suddenly looked at Yang Ming with some fear and trepidation. I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. I must learn a lesson with blood so that I can remember, that's enough. Don't hit him anymore. Let's forget about this matter. Yang Ming looked at Zhang Liebao, who had a miserable face, and said. Previously, Yang Ming really disdained to teach people like Zhang Liebao a lesson. It was a good choice to have Zhang Yuliang to do it for him. So Yang Ming watched Zhang Yuliang slap Zhang Liebao a few times until Zhang Liebao's face was full of blood. When Yang Ming felt that it was enough, he spoke to stop it. After listening to Yang Ming's words, Zhang Liebao suddenly showed an expression of relief. Yang Ming's words meant that Yang Ming had forgiven him. This slap wasn't in vain. If it didn't work, he was prepared to let Zhang Yuliang continue to slap him. If it really didn't work, he would use the iron rod to smash him. Until Yang Ming forgave him. Anyway, Zhang Liebao had just thrown caution to the wind. He already had the idea of staying in the hospital for half a year. Who would have thought that Yang Ming would forgive him like this, which made Zhang Liebao really overjoyed. Suddenly, the burning pain on his face turned into a happy feeling, which made him feel very comfortable. It turned out that being beaten was also a happy thing. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.